3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin The Racin.
Welcome back to the podcast brought to you by OMG Racing, Lucky Day Competitions, and the amazing JCT Truck and Trailer Hire. And the reason I'm saying that is because they jumped on board with a TT this year, and obviously we'll go into that. But obviously we have an episode sponsor for this one. Josh, take it away, son.
Yeah, so the episode sponsor this week is OMG Motorcycles. They've got a fantastic little dealership down in the beautiful village of Prestbury over in Macclesfield, so not too far from Alton Park. The Oakmere group itself have got a huge heritage with British sports cars, so they were one of the original Lotus dealers in the country. They're still a Morgan and a Caterham dealership. They've racing in their blood. They've got a Caterham race team and still doing that today. Recently entered into the world of motorcycles, and they are currently Norton and CCM dealers. And they've also got a selection of different used bikes as well. Absolutely cracking guys. Been down there myself. Showroom's absolutely beautiful, and not too far from Alton Park. So anybody who's heading over to the BSB testing in a couple of weeks' time, and obviously round one, if you've got some spare time, get over and have a look at the Oakmere motorcycles over in Prestbury.
Before this episode got going, Christian's vowed silence because he's scared to have any fun now. Is that about right?
Apparently, if I open my mouth, I offend people. So,
well, I'm all about it, mate.
I'm just going to stay quiet, or offend, or Grace has to do a lot of editing. So, yeah, if I say nothing from now on, then
it's easier that way. But no, don't you dare!
But I am here for people that are just listening. I am here listening.
You're part of the crowd, and obviously, by the way, I think there's a little bit of a. We're all holding my breath here because we have just absolutely laid into having a bit of fun at Josh Corner with his very, very organised iPad. That's brilliant, mate.
With notes. Comprehensive notes.
Someone actually asked me the other day.
I can see his homework, so I am totally jumping in on this game.
No, we've got a lot to cover, haven't we? It's been a long time since we've all chatted, so I figured it was good to have a bit of a
When was it?
Well, Joe figured it out.
No, he didn't actually figure it out.
No, I just think it was before. I think it was before Christmas.
But I tell you what, if it was actually been since Christmas, where do we even begin? Because where are we now? May, June.
It's
June.
We're not covering the. Basically, what you were saying is, first up, we're not covering the TT too much because you're going to do a proper TT review
With hopefully.
One of two people. That's the best way of saying it, isn't it?
I feel like we should just leave that there. A little bit of suspense. Bit of suspense.
Two pretty high-profile people as well, so either would be wonderful.
Oh, well recovered.
Was that written down on that?
Yeah, it was.
Use the words wonderful, splendid.
You can all
structure.
It does say that. On his notes it says use big words.
Yeah, but we've obviously got a fucking lot to cover really across every championship. We've not spoken. We've not all been together since, let's say, Christmas time. Early January. So we've got like pretty much the entire race season up until this point. 6 months worth of catching up to do. So
I feel,
let's go. But
let's go Josh's stuff first because I think it's cool.
Yeah, and it's relevant to the big red sign behind.
And he's doing well because he had one go last year and he was shit.
I wasn't that shit.
Edit.
You
starting already.
I might have been at one round, but the next round I was less shit.
I totally disowned you as a person. I was like,
no, you fucking didn't.
FP1, I was like, oh yeah, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And then he told me, I was like, all right. Never seen him the rest of the weekend. I'm not standing near him.
At least I've never.
That's why I'm struggling this year. That is shitness rubbed off on me.
Oh Christ. I was going to make a joke about
it's like I caught a cold, but like just slowness.
Is that not your age? Is that called getting old?
I was going to say that, but I thought about it.
Immune system down, but maybe just getting, what's the saying?
I'm in the huff now.
The older I am, the faster I was. Yeah. You old cunt.
I'm still pretty.
Yeah. We should probably talk about some motorbikes.
That's like sitting with my 3-year-old. Right? Yeah. At least I'm pretty, Daddy. Right, Joshua, go on.
Yeah. Well, where do we start, really? So, I guess last time we would have spoke early in the year. At that time, it was just running a team was just the idea, really, and it was the idea of told Tim and Matty, who have been fans and patrons of the podcast for years and have helped Chrissy over the years as well. And just, they helped me at the end of last year, and they did a wild card on the Haslam's rocket bike. And just, over a beer at the NEC, basically was like, we were thinking actually it'd be pretty cool if we bought a bike and like did it in Chasin The Racin colours. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, a few more beers. And then I sort of left, didn't know anything. They had gone home on the train, had a few more beers, and then it turned into actually we really want to do this. And it sort of just went from there really, and everybody met up, went through it, a few things, like fucking hell, this actually could work. So the lads got together, bought a bike. I think we were probably the first people to get a 2025 bike. They were straight on it, got it ordered up. What have we done since then really? We've had some incredible support from Lloyd's BMW in Carlisle, which for anyone who doesn't know, the bikes are subsidised from BMW for the series. You buy it from your dealer, you can either build the bike yourself or they'll do the bits. We decided to get it, they got it through Lloyd's, and then the lads built it themselves at their workshop. And it's all just snowballed from there really. So since obviously getting the bike, getting it built, we've done a few tests. We've obviously had a race by this point, so we've done a local test up at Teesside just to have a run out on it. We did a day at Cadwell. We did the BSB test at Alton Park, and then obviously the first round was there. And honestly, it's been an absolute dream. I've never enjoyed racing a motorbike as much as I have as I am right now. It's great. Obviously, there's very little you can do to them anyway, so there's not. In a way, it's like lovely to not be stressed about fucking hell, like my
having electronics engineers,
like all this stuff, you know. So we've worked hard to get it to where it is, and went to the first test and did some pretty respectable times, and thought fucking hell, we can like maybe have a result here. And the first round we were sort of top 6 in all the sessions, finished third in the heat race on the Saturday, and was 5th in the main race on the Sunday. Should have been 4th, but rider error at the last corner. But just an amazing experience. It was absolutely classy. Great to see the bike all done in the livery, and just having everyone involved has been brilliant. I've absolutely loved it. Love riding the bike, and love working with the lads as well. It's just that a big family. Everyone gets on. Sort of Matty's kids come, his wife comes. You know, Tim and Penny are there. Like, it's brilliant. And
how long is it since you stopped racing? How long's that break been?
The last full season that I would have done would have been 2016.
So you mean like 11?
And then and then like 2018, I did a wild card in a Moto3. That was it. Never rode anything race wise since then. And then last year I did Northwest, few Irish roads, and the last 2 rounds of BSB. And then this year's.
Do you notice it's different from when you did it back in 2016, when you got that intensity, the full season? You're still thinking, I want to make this a career, I want to be a British Superbike champion, blah, 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 blah. And you fast forward 9 years, and the dynamic of why you go and racing is completely different.
Yeah, I think...
And the approach to it can change a little bit, because you understand that your training's important, don't you? So you start treating the preparation a bit differently, but then you also don't take it quite as seriously.
I think that I'm probably taking it more seriously than I ever have done. But what you say about your mindset being different is very true. And we've had this discussion before about, you know, when you're 14 years old, or younger, because you're starting a lot younger, like, do you really want to appreciate what you're doing? And like, are you really equipped to be doing a lot of it? And I look back and think, I flip and wish I knew then what I know now. And it's been...
That's life though, isn't it?
Yeah, but
that's everything in life.
In that period where I've not been racing, I guess I was working for teams as well, so like on the spanners, and was kind of still in the paddock. Never really went anywhere. I maybe had one season where I didn't do anything, and I feel like I've learned so much from that I almost wish I'd done that at the start and like spent a year with a team and like learned that side of it as well, because just obviously like working with like some really good riders and listening to them, working with crew chiefs, and then them asking you for stuff, like it really gives you a total different appreciation for it. And I like to think that that's had a huge impact on just how you approach the job and stuff, and spend quite a lot of time with this fucking helmet over here.
Jack.
Yeah, which it does help, like even just how you approach your training, how you approach the weekend. And I think reflecting on Alton Park, just can't really say thanks enough to everyone who's doing something in the team and, you know, putting bikes together and stuff. Like, we're going to do a video at Snetterton and try and like visualize it a little bit, but it's just like a dream to go. It's the best way to go racing. Feel like with friends on a competitive package, enjoying ourselves. It's great. But I must admit, I almost like was a bit disappointed at Alton Park because I really thought, oh fuck, like I'm going to be on the podium. And I don't know if anybody, like people probably don't know, but how the BMW Cup works is you have a heat race. There's 2 heat races on the Saturday, and essentially they split the grid in odds and evens based on your qualifying, and then the top 3 from both races go into Parc Fermé together, and then you essentially get picked out of a hat. So I got loads of messages saying congratulations for being on pole position, and I was like, if it fucking wasn't me, it was the bribe that I gave Scott Grimsdale to pick my name out of the hat. You know, like
How much was that bribe?
Yeah, well, I can't disclose. But yeah, it was, basically that's what happened. So it was just, the whole thing was like a dream, really. Come together lovely, nice to get a podium for them, and then like, or sort of like half podium, if you like. And then starting on pole was cool, but I kind of in the races didn't have anything for the front 3. So I set off, got a decent start, was second, and just thought, oh, like all weekend I'd been telling myself if I get away with them, like I'll be fine. But I really didn't have anything for them, and 4th was the best that I was going to do on that day. And I watched them ride away from us, a 10th every lap, and that was like I've never really had to experience. I've never really been in that position where I've like been at the front and watched them in that happening, you know. And it was hard.
Because who was in the front? Barry Burrow.
Yeah, so the lap times have been...
There's some quality riders.
Oh my God, with Barry Burrow for a start. You know?
Hearing some news that Coops is going to be back in the championship from Snetterton onwards, and also Alex Olsen as well.
So there's only been 1 round so far?
There's only been 1 round,
so
yeah.
They could potentially be championship players.
Yeah, straight away, yeah. So like...
Cooper's coming back.
Apparently so, yeah, from Snetterton onwards, so...
Alex Olsen as well.
Well, I've not heard that rumour. That's a good one.
But I like it. Like,
where have you got that one
club?
from?
Oh,
Yeah.
Alex Olsen.
Well, yeah.
But
He's a super quiet guy in the WhatsApp chat, though. He's like... He's incognito.
Are you having us on? This isn't live, Chris. You know that.
No, I promise you. I didn't know that. No, I promise you. That's mega.
Yeah, so I asked
That's ace.
I asked the guys who basically you would have to buy the bike from, and he said, yeah, like he was never going to do the first round. Apparently, I'm speaking for him here. Well, I don't know if you're going to be there or not, Alex, but like there's rumour that he'd be there.
He's texting him under the table already. Christian's like, that guy, some mate you are.
I'm going to see if I can get some insight.
Go on, text him right now. Go on.
Great if he is. Brilliant. Also with Coops, I think brilliant as well. Like I want the championship to be as strong as possible, and if we can still run at the front, I mean, look at the lap times from Alton. They were way under Cooper's lap record, and like a lot. Yeah, we were like the top 5 or 6 were all under lap record pace. I mean, I don't know if the tyres different or something.
I was going to say like
our
not
bikes
taking anything
are
away
slightly
from
better as well.
any of you guys, but obviously Coops is no slouch. What do you think has changed there? Just for 5 of you to be under a lap record pace that's a big thing.
Look at like the top 3, which was Barry Burrell, James Bull, and Bobby Vari. Bobby Vari was the only one on an older spec bike.
Really?
Yeah.
And still under the lap record.
And still under the lap record by a big way. Like they went a second under it, if not a bit more. I think. Like it was a lot.
But then
Baz just had pace above and beyond everybody else on top of that. So whether the tyres change, whatever, but also them lads are 3 years into the championship as well. So there's a bit of
continuity.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
And then people like Ellison and Courtney were maybe a little bit off the boil and from where we expected, but it's still not going slow. Like the lap times are still fantastic. So I think if you look back in the championship, I've looked back through the times for Snetterton, for example, and every year the times at the top 3 are the same, but the gap between 4th to 5th was big. And the next year the gap from 4th to 7th, you know what I mean? So there's just a bit of quality gets added every year.
Yeah.
So and you only go as fast as your competitors, really. Like, yeah, Coops might have been able to do that lap time, but if he's not getting pushed by 5 other guys, and he's not gonna
maybe add a bit more.
Yeah, maybe exactly right. So I think there's a combination of things, but ultimately, like, there's some doers in the championship, and I was delighted to come away with them results and be sort of considered.
It's funny to hear you were disappointed not to get a podium though, because like I know that when you came and did the 1 round last year, you had reasonably good hopes, and it was a bit hard for you, wasn't it? Like,
yeah,
you hadn't ridden for a long time, and it's a weird bike, so yeah, you've got plenty of excuses. No, I was taking the piss.
He wasn't.
I was taking the piss, but he was shit. But But then you come into like the first round and you were mega. And it was a big jump, but it's funny, isn't it, how just that competitive mindset all of a sudden, like what your pre-weekend goals might have been, suddenly get flipped on the head after even potentially one session of being near the front, and then you're like...
Because last year, doing your one-off, if you'd have finished fourth, you'd have been peaking.
100%. And we had an extra session. Which actually I felt made us feel worse. I felt proper nervous. I can't explain it, but I felt nervous. I just felt
because you can run at the front.
Yeah, I was like, fuck out. Well, now I've got to do it every session, and they're not... The best way I can describe it is the bikes are heavy, they're 100 horsepower, everyone's on the same machinery. You are riding it hard. Like, it's the sort of bike that you have to ride hard, if you know what I mean. It's like a big, heavy Moto3. That's the style. And the racing's close, and it's like you have to be sort of ready for it almost. So I felt a bit of pressure. I even had... everything happened that weekend. We'd had, like... a not so great session, a fantastic session, a podium, almost crash, and a crash. So like, I had a little tip off on Friday morning following.
Our bike was all right, yeah.
I fucking rode it back. It cost 30 quid to fix it. It broke the
Where did you crash?
Crashed the second chicane on the left.
All right.
Following Barry Brawley, came past in the qualifying session on my first flying lap, jumped in behind him, and then crashed trying to follow him, and just the pace is good. And it was an eye-opener that I didn't have anything for them. But also, you have to just accept that's where you are. And going into Snetterdon with a very different mindset. Like, I was at Croft the other day doing a little track day, which was mint. And what was nice was, like, half the guys were over at the TT with Dom, and the other half came to Croft. Now, you know, Matty, who was at Croft with me, he runs his own business. Like, he's flat to the mat all the time, stressed to bits. And I turned up at Croft, he had everything there set up, like ready to go, and he was peaking. Like, he was needed to be there as much as I did, if you know what I mean. It's like he wanted to not be at work and be there. And that was a little reminder of, like, it was pissing down with rain, we didn't go out in the morning, we had a bit of drama to sort out of noise and stuff. And then we went out in the afternoon, had 4 20-minute sessions. Fucking everyone was grinning. We went, did some respectable lap times on scrub tyres, and everyone was just buzzing. And I drove home from there thinking, actually, them lads don't care whether I'm last or first here. And so it's only me putting the pressure on. And I'm excited to go to Snetterdon and just enjoy it, and just very grateful for the setup. Like, it's mint. I think everyone here has experienced when you're happy and just enjoying it. We're fucking lucky to be doing what we're doing. It's not my job to be racing. Like, we've all got to go to work, apart from this fucker. But I'm joking, he works very hard. Probably the most hard-working Superbike rider on the grid. But, like, I think just fucking class. Like, just really lovely setup, and just loving what we're doing. So, disappointed to feel disappointed, if you know what I mean. And I think I just need to forget that and be happy and just grateful for what we're doing. And it's class to see all the support we're getting from people, being in the colours, and it just feels mint.
Mega.
While we're on it, do you want to mention the collaboration with Chasin The Racin and the Patreon zone that you've got going on?
Yeah, so we've basically got, like, Grace has been the sort of mastermind behind it, but we've got, alongside our setup where we're running the bike out of and stuff, we've got the Chasin The Racin pop-up awning alongside, where got tea making facilities, coffee, some sweet treats and stuff, and it's basically calling it the Patreon sort of fan zone, if you like. So if you're a patron or you want to be a patron, you can sign up while you're there, come along, see what it's all about, get access to free drink and see what's going on in the team. And yeah, we encourage as many people as possible to come and find us. So Grace will put on the socials when we're there, where we are, and stuff like that, so where you can find us. But yeah, it's nice to just involve as many people as possible.
Mega. Moving on to you, Christian.
Alex has actually replied. So
what's he said?
Yeah, he might do a few.
Might do a few, but what does might do a few? I'm not that bothered.
No, literally, yeah. And he said he'd like to do a few stock 1,000 rides as well.
Can we not get him on the pod? Look, he was
should. He's mega.
The man was strapped to a hospital bed, looking at a ceiling for how long?
He's some boy, Alex.
No, but like, he's your best. Like, can you hook Grace up?
Okay.
Let's get this happening. You know what I mean? What a guest he'll be.
I'll message him now.
Dom said to tell you from Grace, come on the podcast.
Alex, we want you.
I tell you what, while he's messaging, Put it in the iPad.
I'll put. Sorry,
But
That's the last time I'm doing any sort of
I better
notes.
put on the pod just in case.
like
We want you on the pod.
on the pod, I like that.
Just don't want him getting the wrong.
How
end of the
much
stick.
difference is there from the old bike to the new bike? Lighter wheels,
Yeah, but
softer forks, like you know when you're talking about the lap time and everything like that. I just want to know, could you noticeably feel big of a time gap? But could you noticeably feel the difference between the old model and the new model?
yeah. So I've not had a chance to ride one back to back on the same day, but
I'd
obviously,
love to see.
I'd love to do
I'd
that.
love you to do that. Just see what you think.
But basically, the visual difference is the handlebars are black instead of silver, and they're flatter. So when to look at the two bikes next to each other, that's the difference. You can't see anything else. But actually, there's, like Dom says, quite a difference. So the bars are flatter, slightly further forward, I believe. The material of the fork is different. I'm not sure exactly. Softer is probably not the right term. I don't know. I think I got wrong for saying that before, but it's a different material.
As in softer outer, more flex.
Yes,
Okay.
I think so. And the wheels are a couple of kilos lighter, so it's quite a big difference. I mean, on an already heavy bike.
For people that
And
won't
it's a
understand,
rotating mass. It's massive.
Well,
actually explain the difference to people who won't have a clue, like the actual advantages of running such light wheels, like
I'm not
lighter
sure.
wheels.
I'm not sure I know the exact technical. You're probably better off to.
Well, you just basically times the weight by the speed at which it rotates and how far from the centre point. So a small amount of weight difference can suddenly extrapolate out into a massive
Big,
amount of
yeah.
difference.
And when you consider people are on the older bike,
Good work on the word extrapolate.
I use this. It said use
Write
big
it down
words.
in there.
Can we write?
And I didn't hear anything other than extrapolate.
Josh's pad.
Josh's part.
But it basically anything that's rotating. If you take the weight off, the sensation is much greater than if you put it on a scale statically.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
I tell you what makes me like a bit of a side note. Obviously, we're talking about wheels at this, but it pisses me off that we're not allowed to run lighter wheels in Supersport. I'd love to know why.
I think that's probably a cost thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
I'd
mad
say
thing,
so.
no, to get a hold of I can get a hold of Oz wheels or Dymags cheaper than I can get a hold of stock CBR 600 wheels.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's the cornered market of going, well, you need these to run this championship. Nowhere else can you do it. But you think, it pisses me off. You're looking at these beautiful manufactured alley wheels that are purpose for racing, and you're not allowed to run them unless you're on track days or whatever.
But the argument to that will be that if they open the rules up, then
They would
the
be more
cost
expensive.
Yes.
and the cost of the stock wheels, the arse will drop out of them because then people will say, well, for the same price, I can buy them and run them.
Yeah,
And
but
magnesium and
But in the same breath, I think for British Supersport though, it's a bit.
Well,
like,
I think
can we
that
not open? Can we not open? Like, you know, it's British Supersport we're talking
But you
about.
might
You know,
say
it's a
that.
bit.
You
Can we
might
not
say that's
open the
starting to
door?
happen in the way that all the sort of new generation stuff is. That might be the next iteration of it. I'm sure. Like I'm sure it's probably been a discussion at some point. But yeah, they've never had that. Have they? They've always been. They've always had to be on that standard wheels. I mean, it's a good point. I don't know the answer. You would assume it's cost, but I don't know the answer actually.
But like using someone like Jack, I'd love to back that straight off. Same settings, just literally pull it. Like right, Jack, there's just CBR 600. Come in.
Yeah.
Straight out, swap the wheels. No suspension changes. Obviously, there would be setups, blah 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 blah. But
It'd be a massive difference.
it would be
But
very
it's-
interesting to
it is
see
funny,
if he just
so-
went out and if he did just go bang a lap in. I'd love to see it.
So in the F900 series, I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, but we're chatting to Nicky at Alton. He prefers the old bike over the new one. And I just think everything about it was positive. But like Bobby Verway's running at the front and doing the same lap time, so you can't say that it's not possible. But I would think the new bike is a step forward. But he seems to like the old one, so it is interesting, isn't it? I don't know, like maybe it's preference or whatever, but I mean, you can't argue with the science, but it just shows you that it's not the be all and end all. Like you can still do the job on.
did Nicky do the first year of that F900 though?
He's done all three.
Yeah, so he got used to it. hasn't he?
Yeah, probably.
That's
yeah,
the thing.
yeah, that's a good point.
Another youth club member, McNeely.
Oh,
He outrightly, I remember speaking to him because he was like a second and a half quicker, you know, like really down. He goes, well, I prefer the old bike. And I'm going, son, you're a second and a half quicker.
If he'd have done that last year, you'd have been peaking.
He's sitting there with his nose strip on in his camper going, for the old bike, I'm going, you're a second and a half quicker.
Do you know what it is?
Rob doesn't know what gear he's in
He's the
at most corners, so don't ask him which bike he prefers. He probably doesn't know what bike he doesn't know what class he's racing in.
You know what? I would like to get him on the pod, him and his dad. Imagine that. The thing is,
His dad is fucking hilarious.
His dad is mint, man. Absolutely mint. I feel like we should write this list down of like.
Yeah.
Well, Alex has replied and said he's up for doing a pod. So
Perfect.
Right,
We've got
I'm
him
putting
lined
you.
up.
Has he been on before?
Yeah,
No.
he must have done. Has he not?
Alex, no, I have been asking for Alex Olsen for years.
I thought he had been
Yeah.
on.
For years, because obviously every
Maybe
time.
because you've asked so much, I think.
No, I haven't.
thought he's been on.
No. I've asked. I tell you what, I've asked 3 times, but I've actually asked Grace and indirectly you lot. Go, can you not just try and push
Okay.
Alex
No,
Olsen?
well, there you go, get him on
Mate,
then, yeah.
the fact you're talking about like coming back from a sport, obviously we've all been injured, but like when
He was properly injured.
he was.
Yeah,
And the fact that he's on a motorcycle again, punching Alex Seeley in the gravel pit, is just mint. You know what I mean?
he's talented. Lad.
Okay, if that doesn't put a title on why you want to listen to Alex Olsen's podcast, he's boxing Seeley in the gravel pit. You're thinking, here we go, straight off the bat. But no, I tell you, there's another side point. You can't update the older model into the newer model. They keep costs down. So if you had last year's Model F900,
Yeah, no hybrids.
you can't put the wheels off the new model onto
That's
that.
the same as like stock 1000 and all sorts, isn't it? That's what essentially caught out that year.
It's also
It's got to be homologated.
Yeah.
Yes, with a
It was whatever it was that it was, the brake thing was okay on that identical bike, but the frame was 1 year older, even though the frames are identical.
there we are.
That's what caught him out. So yeah,
Got you.
again, it's even for fairings and stuff like that. You couldn't have. There's a few years when the BMWs have switched fairings in it, and you can't just chuck the new fairing on
the bike.
on the
Well,
old bike.
fair enough. That's the class. Then that's the rules.
It's the
isn't it?
frame that gets that I know of. I think it's the frame that gets scrutineered,
Right.
and
that's
it's the
gotta
year on the
match that.
frame, and then that's it.
What on the topic? Obviously, we just touched a little bit there on like times being so much quicker. Actually, that's the same across the board, isn't it? That everyone in every class has gone a lot quicker.
I'm glad you said that because when you talk about the stock 1000 class have gone back to the treads and they're still under the lap record.
I don't know if
Well, Mickelchick at Donington did a 27.7.
Is that how you say that?
I don't know.
No,
Ilya Mikkelchek, isn't it?
well, I tell you what, you're both convincing. I don't know if you're saying it right or not, but anyway, that fucking Jesus. At 27,
Not bad, is it?
that is
I would have hated to have been the Superbike rider sat in the garage watching that happen.
27.
What were you lads doing? Just to
I
give the
did
listeners.
I think I did a. I don't know.
He does know, by the way.
No, I don't. I know it was quicker, but not much.
Yeah.
That's
Not much.
That
27.4 maybe. I don't know.
that shows how fast them EWC boys are, doesn't it?
Oh, well, he's a class act. He's like
yeah, he's done a lot, and
the
he's
thing
more
is,
than
the
I
thing
realised.
is because of his career path. In EWC, I think you don't always get noticed because obviously a team environment, so people don't see the one-off things that people do that are special because it comes together in this like final result that may or may not have been.
But also, it isn't sort of watched and followed in the same way.
It's not watched or followed the same. It's also not about the absolute one-off blitz pace, apart from like Pole, because that is cool. But apart from that, it's not really. And the other thing is like he's done IDM, so German Superbike, for a number of years, which has got some proper big hitters in it. But it's really not well publicised, considering how like insanely fast the championship is. So as much as he's won an awful amount,
he's still unknown to
he's
a lot of
kind of
people.
unknown, and people just think he's like, I don't know him.
And they see that he's Ukrainian and go, do Ukraine breed? Like, is it the place? Is that the place where you go bike racing?
I know.
No, all joke aside, like Ukraine,
Well, it is it? It's like
No, you wouldn't think of it.
it's not.
well,
a country.
Italy, Spain,
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
Ukraine, you're thinking, where's the track? Name me a track.
Yeah.
You know, what
In
was so,
Ukraine.
so funny, Luke Mossey's interview with Eurosport, like when he just joined the championship at the start of the year, and he goes, I think that Ukrainian lad will be quick when he gets going, sort of thing. And then it was funny. It's so funny that he's fucking.
I mean, he wasn't wrong.
No, exactly. Yeah, like, and the class looks fantastic. Like, looks great. The
Stock does look good.
Yeah, lap times are brilliant. And just on the lap time thing, I don't know that maybe it is the tires or something. That's maybe the only difference or something. But
20. Like,
Every class has gone quicker. Like
looking
at
what
all,
I did.
every class was quicker.
Are you looking to find what I did?
yeah, no, I'm just trying to look at tracks. It looks just
Ukrainian
Oh, in
tracks.
Ukrainian tracks.
just lots of go-karts.
Yeah.
Just lots and lots of go-kart tracks. But I tell you what, now that he's done BSB, do you reckon his career will just take off after doing a 27?
No.
No, because he's familiar with Donington, isn't he? I think, because did he do European Stock Thou as well?
Don't know.
Yeah, he did.
Essentially, if you're going to, like...
So, like Alton, it was his first time to Alton Park.
Yeah.
Whereas Donington, I'm 99% sure.
He's done a bit in the European/World Championship.
So he was sort of going there already knowing what he was doing. I think then you're going to get to Knockhill, Cadwell. We're probably not going to see...
The thing is, it depends what you mean by, is his career going to take off? His career is probably as good as he needs it to be.
Yeah.
He's got a BMW contract. He'll earn a pretty penny out of EWC.
Yeah.
Quite a lot, I would say. He's multiple national champion in Germany. To him, to add a British is probably no different to adding a German.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's just a location where you're going to races.
And he's already got the contract that pretty much every rider would want, which is a direct manufacturer link contract, which nobody has. So, yeah, I doubt it's going to... I doubt it'd help him that much, but it would certainly...
I guess
it wouldn't hinder him, but I don't think it would add a great deal because he's already doing what he needs to do.
I guess that's the equivalent of him. So him winning IDM on a BMW is like someone winning British Superbikes on an Autumn. Like, do you know what I mean? You don't
It's
think
a big thing for him.
We don't
For-
think
for
of it.
BMW,
We don't think of it like that. But that's their home and their arena, isn't it? So yeah, I've never thought of it like that. But I guess it is quite a big thing.
Let me spin it up again while we're talking a bit about the Stock 1000 class. Hats off, Mitch Rees.
Oh, is
Is this his first time in British circuits?
Yeah.
Holy crap! There must be something in the Rees blood, like like Damon was saying. Like, bearing in mind throughout the whole of the winter time. We've got some facts.
He's younger than I thought he was.
Go on, then tell the people. Joe.
Mikkelchek. No, I just when you're talking like he's in a strong position.
Born 1996. Someone do the maths. 28.
He's
Yeah,
yeah,
it just says
Google did the maths.
If you keep reading it, just in brackets right next to it.
He'd be 20. He'd be 29.
If you,
What, when he's finished being 28? Yeah, he will, yeah.
No,
that's what comes
now,
next.
He would be He's 20. He'd be 20.
iPad's working out well for you.
No, he would be 20.
I'm done with 28.
No, he would be 29.
Guess what he's going to be after that?
Listen here, you cunts, right? He'd be 20. He's not. When was that article written? It's a year old, you fuckers. He's 29.
Look.
Isn't that Wikipedia?
I'm 28 and I was born in 97.
That's
so
the
he's born in
17th of August.
96. He'd be 28. 9. Anyway, not that fucking matters. He's young. He's fucking younger than you, anyway. That's not hard, though, is it?
Have you seen how small they've got? Have you seen how little they've got?
The goal bars, they've got tiny.
Share the love.
I'm revving about that.
Send them that way.
Yeah, grasp me right up there, didn't you? Yeah, get a biscuit. Anyway,
Shrinkflation,
while we have biscuits on the table, can we go back to Mitch Rees?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I just
No, but
we finished the Ukrainian point.
my God, honestly, but like throughout the whole of winter, the Cemetery Road Race series, and hold on, it's the Suzuki Tri.
Yeah.
Anyway, he absolutely handed Davey Todd and Peter Hickman. There was no two other ways about it. It was phenomenal. I tell you what, his old man's fast mind.
Yeah, he podiums the job, doesn't he?
He holds shots every single race. I think he's like nearly 60, rides Fireblades and stuff like that. What a boy.
That, innit?
What a boy. But, sorry, let me just finish with this. But,
We're all trying to like not chew everyone's ear off.
and obviously he did newcomer this year at the Northwest, had a bit of a crash. He was all right. No, I can't remember which corner he crashed at.
And the crash at Black Hill, did not?
Was it Black? No, it wasn't Black Hill.
No, it was.
Black Hill doesn't take many prisoners.
Yeah, but if you're going to crash, to come from a short circuit to go there, you're going to crash at Black Hill, aren't you?
You reckon?
Have you got any notes on Mitch Rees?
Fuck off.
No, but
That's a no.
I tell you
I
what,
think
every
Black
Mitch
Hill's-
Rees report out there be listening to this going, how do you not know? But there's no Black Hill. Black Hill?
I think that's an easy place to crash. I think it's probably the easiest place to crash at the Northwest 200.
What, that blind summit coming
Yeah.
over the top?
Because you...
How the hold on. We've got a professional road racer right next to us. Joe,
Nothing.
would you like to intervene here?
Oops. I'm too busy playing. So Josh has got a pencil with a USB port on it. What a fucking...
Joe,
Yeah.
come on. Concentrate. Back to work. Stop. Black Hill.
It's...
Is
I'm
that an
done,
easy...
I'm
Is
done the
that...
Northwest.
What,
I'm done the Northwest.
Okay. with your extensive knowledge and your thick beard, would you say Black Hill's easy to crash at? Thanks for your input, Joe. Christian.
Anyway,
I'm just thinking.
Well, hang on. Here's my reasoning, right? It's blind, but it's actually like a lovely entry going in. And once you know where the road goes on the other side, it just invites you to go into it really hard and push on it. And because it's blind and then the camber goes the other way, I think it's dead easy to lose the front there, like, and you can attack it. I think as someone inexperienced, if you're going to push, you would push there because then you're up onto that course road and it's quite wide. And you just want to get going. I think it's easy there, and probably the right coming out from under the tunnel, the bridge.
I'll tell you what. Well, obviously you had a little tip off, but let's just jump straight back to you for a second. Are we going to see a road race again? That was a Patreon question, wasn't it? Who was the Patreon question?
I'll find out who it was.
Go on.
And then while he answers it.
I'd like to, but probably not.
Right.
I'll be honest. As much as I enjoy the experience of the Northwest, I'm just not sure that I'm into road racing mass start. I think whilst I think I had a good result and all the rest of it, I'm just really not sure that I would do much more. And
I think that's a fair comment, to be honest with you.
I just think though,
I
get to a level.
Saying that,
I think I'll just get to a level where like I would go, I can't really do much more because I just haven't got the, I don't know, balls, whatever you want to say, mentality, whatever it is. I don't know, but
thing is to go road racing.
Hello, sweetheart. Just in the camera. And you smell fantastic, by the way.
I thought I smell like.
You smell of wallpaper thinners.
I just stink. I've just come straight from a building site.
Yes, same.
Fuck it.
Your skin wouldn't graft you, man.
That's fine.
Connor Henry, thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, I did see that.
Well done. There you
are.
Yeah, I think to go road racing, you've got to want to do it. You've got to want to go and do that.
At the time, I really did. And I really did enjoy it. I had a fantastic experience. And I was on some good bikes with good people. That opportunity wasn't there to do that again. And my immediate thought was, I can't think of anybody that'll want me. And therefore, I'm not really that bothered.
Yeah.
And I didn't even go looking. So, if everything fell into place, yes. And I honestly came over for a day to the TTC, Dom and the lads, and honestly thought I'd fucking love to come here and do this, but will the circumstances ever be there? Don't know. Is it on my agenda in the short term? Don't know. Don't think so. But I'd fucking love to say that I'd done a TT or a Manx or whatever. I think the thing for road racing is riding around it is one thing, and riding around it fast is one thing. Mass start racing, I'm not sure I've got the appetite to do that beyond where I was. And that goes for Scotland.
Fair play.
Same, I'd love to ride certain bikes around Scarborough again, and I enjoyed some of the smaller road races in Ireland. But again, it's just the mass start thing. I'm just not sure it's for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I respect you for that one.
We're going to see you back on a road race, Joe.
No, probably not. No, I don't think so. Not bothered for it.
Yeah,
like the TT jobs are that. I don't miss the build up to it as a privateer. I'd rather have a prostate examination done by Andre the Giant than go through that whole build up of that. Like it's just horrible. It's horrible, and I don't do a lot with social media. I'm not really. It's not reality, is it? It's not the real world. It's a lot of people that they're not there when the chips are down, are they? You know, it's like so. I don't spend a huge amount of time on there. But when I do drop on it and I see with 6 weeks to go from to the TT, lads just pulling their hair out, struggling like fuck with loads of distress, I just sit there and I think, I don't miss that one bit.
You've sort of been there and done it and got the t-shirt, so you can say that, I guess.
I always used to think Guy Martin was a bit of a tosser with his comments when he'd say things that like... I'm not bothered about going back. I've got other things in life that I want to do. And I used to think, like he's just saying it for a reaction. He's got to be saying it for a reaction. But when he was saying that, was the time when that was the only thing that mattered to me with my racing. So I couldn't see how someone who'd been there, done it at that level, been competitive at that level, could still be competitive at that level. How can you be making comments like that? But now, I was wrong for thinking that, because 100%, I agree with his comments. He said something about he'd sooner have a day at Monkey World with his little lass and his missus over doing that. 100%.
And what?
But I missed it listening on the radio.
He did.
I'm like, fucking hell, and I had to go out and cut the grass with my headphones on so I could listen to what was going on. And the missus looking at me out the window like she knows. But then she listened as well. So if I said to her,
you're both walking in the house, turning the
yeah, no, but it's weird, isn't it? And she says she misses it. She misses that feeling in the, the family sort of the paddock area and just that whole 2 week. Like she missed that as well. But if I said to her, I'm going to go back next year on a 600, her head would roll off. So, but yeah, no, I don't think. No, I think I've been there, done that. I'm happy enough. Good.
And what about Christian? We've had this conversation before, and I think you've got a really interesting perspective on it. So you're like, it's not on your
the blank face at all.
I was wondering what my interesting perspective was.
Mate, all he was doing was looking at your iPad. Was this in the notes?
Yeah. What did I say?
Hidden perspective.
Yeah, but you've said you're not really bothered about it, but then maybe it's the older you're getting, or more experience, shall we say, that actually probably. Maybe would? Do you think you'd maybe have a go at it?
It's not that I'm not bothered. I was super keen. I spoke about it before, but I purposely stay away. I could have gone over, but it just gets too tempting.
Yeah.
And I just really don't want it. I don't want to have the...
desire to do it.
Yes. That's the thing. That's why I stay away.
I purposely stay away. I hardly watch any footage. I look at the results because I do want to see who's done what and blah, blah, blah. And I keep track of Dom's progress. But more or less, I keep myself away because I just don't want to get that absolute bug because I think it's incredible. I really do.
Yeah, I don't think Dan will mind me telling this, but Dan Linfoot went over a couple of years ago with his missus. He'll come on the pod and he'll tell us it. Went over with Carly and I got Robbie to run him to a few places. And he's texting me while he's over there and he's like, mate, I've got to do this. He's talked about it for a long time, and he went over with Bridewell, and there was a few of them went over in 2010, something like that, when they were trying to have quite a big drive to get some bigger names.
There was a period where a lot of the short circuit lads made a bit of a switch over.
Yeah.
They had a big push on it, didn't they?
And he went and did the whole sighting weekend and looked at it, and then decided, oh no, and then obviously time's gone on a little bit more, and same thing, he started, and it was basically, he texted me and said, what do you think? And I just said to him, I don't think that you need to do it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, sorry, mate. Can you let me drum out?
Sorry, I think...
when you get a triple phone call and... Yeah, I'll quickly carry on without me for a second.
I think genuinely it's...
This wasn't in my notes, Dominic.
No, sorry, no.
Dom has left the building.
Free time, sorry.
I genuinely think the fact... So let's take Dan's example, which I think is similar to mine. I don't need to do it or didn't need to do it. I think that's a better place to be. That was actually one of the turn-ons for me.
Was not needing to.
Because there was actually, in that period of them being a drive, I saw people, and I might be wrong, but it appeared they were going in an effort to extend or to help their career, which I thought was the wrong thing to do.
I agree.
And at the time I was in a good place. So I was really keen, and I was it made me more keen the fact I wasn't going to it to have to pull out a result or to have to be I'll also do the roads. Because remember I was with Tyco at the time, or Taz Racing at the time and stuff. So they would have happily rolled a bike out for me,
But when Dan went, Dan was in that sort of period when Superbike wasn't quite working out.
Yeah.
And I think he'd done a bit of crew chiefing for Chrissy, hadn't he?
Yeah.
And he was just a little bit lost with the job, and Dan was maybe just looking for somewhere to head, a direction to head. And to be fair to him, he has always said, he doesn't want to get to the end of his... It'll be, if he gets to the end of his racing career and it's not one thing he's done, it'll be like... But I just said to my dog, I don't think you needed to. I don't think you need to do that right now. But it's a funny one, isn't it? It's a funny one. That's part of the reason I stay away as well, is that I am a bit worried that if I go over there, that whole... It's a fucking disease, isn't it, when it's in your, and it's under your skin. And right now, I've managed to have chemotherapy and get it gone. So
every time I go through Keramo, I think of you. every time. Like you're doing your 6th gear on a stock valve through their left kink, and I just think of Joe Ackroyd.
Like how
mate,
my ass is still
mate, there is literally the wall says, "Hi Dom, how's Joe?" You know what I mean? Like honestly, Jesus wept, man. It's so
We've got to be
fast.
careful not to delve to. There's so many things I want to say, but I'll save it because it might. I don't want to turn it into a TT review because we're going to do one of them. But
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a fucking cool place, and I really love it. Like I really, really, really enjoyed my times I've been over. Like I loved it. I only went for a day this year, and it was fucking mint.
It's good to see. It was actually a bit of a shock, but I tell you what, this is a perfect time naturally. So you've avoided road race for the danger, and we're sitting next to you with a brand new shoulder. You know what the hell, mate? Honestly, what? Like, explain Joe Ackroyd's season so far. I can't. Like,
Well, it was all right until it wasn't. that's how it normally goes, isn't it? Yeah.
I think this is a very factual podcast. You know what I mean? Like
Hold
29
on.
comes after 28.
The last time we were on doing a catch up, you weren't even sure if you were going to race.
Man's gonna
So
point.
people
Yeah,
don't,
I don't know.
people
I
don't
don't
even
remember.
know that you were racing. Like,
So-
they know now, but you know what I mean.
At the end of last year, I did I rode the Boulder with Chris Walker and the ADSS Kawasaki team.
Yes.
But to be honest with you,
But they've now folded, haven't they?
yeah, just
What-
they didn't think.
When did that happen?
At
Just
the end
this
of
year
last
they stopped doing it.
Yeah, end of last year they
Platty
just
and that
basically
just decided
said,
not to
like,
bother.
The Kawasaki's
Really? What are they doing? No limits? Like, they're not doing anything? Or are they?
No, Platty's selling the bike. So if you
Platty's
want a
selling the
ZX10, get in touch with Chris Platt because there's some ADSS bikes still for sale.
Very mild use.
Yeah.
Just a season of EWC.
One careful owner.
24-hour races.
Well, 4 careful owners
Yeah, I didn't crash on
that
that.
just barebacked it for 24 hours solid. Green Bonnie Blue.
The Bonnie Blue.
Bonnie Green.
Oh,
Jesus.
oh, that's another. We'll get on to that. EWC.
Get onto
Let's
what?
talk about EWC.
Yeah, so
This is proper podcasting, by the way. We're just...
oh, cracking this shit. It's all right, actually. To be fair, I'm not normally a fan, but it's all right. Is that? Yeah, but I rode shit, to be honest with you. I, like you lads know, there was a lot going on at home in my personal life, and wasn't in a particularly good place, and arguably
This is Le Mans.
at Boulder at the end of
Oh,
last year.
Boulder, sorry.
Right, yeah.
Just wasn't. Yeah. I wasn't riding my best. So, and you're only as good as your last performance, really, aren't you? So, going into this season with ADSS folding, the Metis guys came back to me with the prototype bike, and Gabby, my teammate, said, you know, we'd like to have you back, but I think Manu, the boss, had a few concerns because he looked at my times that I'd done at the Boulder, and I was like, yeah, I mean, if he's looking at that, he wants to be concerned because I rode like a shuttle bed, to be honest with you. It was a waste of time, but I know that I'm better than that. I don't think I'm that good, but I'm better than that. And so I went and did. Anyway, he sort of convinced Manu that I was worth a punt. My terms were that I didn't want to be a reserve rider. You know, I said I'm getting older. I don't want to do that. You know,
No.
I want to go racing as well.
Something to do with your age. It's the fact that you've been reserve rider, and you're every time you've come on the pod,
You want to ride?
you're
it,
actually
yeah.
no. He's faster than the non-reserve lads. You know that's
Yeah,
fact. That is fact. You know what I mean. So good on you for actually going.
I just said I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to sit on the sidelines.
No.
You know, if we're going to do it, I want to race, and that's like that is the terms of me coming back to Metis. So they said, yeah, no problem at all. We'll do that. Ludo, who was with us last year, he left. He was going just to concentrate on French Superbikes. The Honda that Metis built was a bit of a pig at the Boulder. He didn't enjoy himself, and he just said, look, I don't want to do this again for another season. So it then meant we had to find 2 other riders. So they found a Swiss kid who's out of French Superbike, fast, nice lad. He's as fast as Ludo. And Ludo's, you know, running up the point at the end of the French Superbike. And then the reserve rider was a lad who'd done the IRRC called Com Grennan, a Belgian lad. But he'd had a bad crash, I think, at Chimay last year. So he was sort of coming back as a, you know, it was sort of his toe back in, but he was happy to be a reserve. Did the pre-test and my lap times, I looked over Gabby's shoulder after my second session, and he was texting the boss to say, Joe's already like where we needed him to be at the end of 2 days. He's already there, session 2, on scrubs. So I was like, and I do need like a bit of a pat on the back off. You know, I don't respond to team bosses or mechanics or people around you saying nothing. Like, that,
you like to hear what
I need to be told you're doing all right, mate.
Positive,
yeah, because I beat myself up. So like I was like, all right, and he said no. He said that's perfect, Joe, because he said honestly, those times that you've done consistently are what we need as a race pace. So the fact you're doing it on used tyres after the whole winter off, and you know, second session of the day is good. So I was happy with that. And then fast forward to the race week at Le Mans, the little Swiss kid pulled out. So they were like, fuck, now we've got to find another rider. And I said, get Ludo back, because I get on with Ludo. Gabby and Ludo are like best mates. I said it'd be perfect. And they were like, I don't know, because the last time he rode the bike, it wasn't great. I said, can I ring him? And they were like, yeah, if you want. So I rang him. I said, the bike's fucking not what you rode at the end of last year. It's so much better than that. It's not perfect, but you know, it's much nicer to ride than what you described riding at the Ball d'Or at the end of last year. And I said, I think you should come back and let's get the boy band back together. So he did. He came back, and yeah, practice week went. The practice sessions were good. Qualifying was good. I was second fastest all week. Gabby just done the French Superbikes on the bike, so he was like well dialed in. And then the team doesn't have a massive budget, so qualifying tyres are an issue. I just said, give my qualifying tyres to Ludo. I'll qualify on scrubs because I'm probably not going to go any faster, and that's the whole point of doing the team thing. You know, Ludo's confidence was just, you know, he needed a bit more confidence. You have the new tyres, mate. It's cool. It doesn't matter. It's fuck me if we start last. It's a 24-hour race. It's all right. You know, that's just how you should do it. So yeah, just tried to do my part and play my part, and times were good. And then the fucking forecast was just pish for the race. And Le Mans
was this dry,
and then they said, and I was talking to Gintoli the day before, and he said, fuck, if it rains tomorrow, we're just in for 24 hours of hell. And I was like, come on. I says, it won't be that bad. It won't be that bad. It won't be, oh God, if the Frenchmen say it's going to be that bad. And they're like, and they just said to me as well, do you want to start the race? And I went, no, not at all. Not interested. Bring Andre back in to do the prostate examination. I do not want to do the start of the race. And they were like, to start a Le Mans 24-hour is like it's a fairly special experience. There's 80 to 100,000 people in the audience and in the grandstands, and that's
a box ticker for sure.
It's an amazing experience. So they said, you know, you should do it. So I said, oh fucking hell, all right. Didn't sleep that well the night before because it's just you know what you're about to do.
Can we go back just a little bit? Just one technical question. Like, why so bad in the wet? Is it because of the amount of rubber from the dry, or was it
Le Mans a disaster? I do not know why exactly.
Are we talking like old school Donington kind of disaster?
It's horrendous.
Really?
Well, just watch what happens. Even to be fair, even on a dry weekend at MotoGP weekends, you get ridiculous amounts of crashes.
Yeah.
So you add a little bit of water to it, and for some reason,
why is it always a horrible off throttle corner entry high side as well?
It's everywhere. You don't have that. That is 10% of them.
Yeah.
Stationary, upright, with a paddock stand, you'd fall off honestly, I have never, and that was the other reason I was so nervous. Because I was sitting there thinking, I almost know
what you're walking
that this
into.
is a guaranteed crash.
Well, didn't Greg Black crash three times in one stint? On the Yoshi Suzuki.
I remember, like, obviously, you click on Facebook and you just see people surfing their motorbikes. Mate, it was just...
FIM EWC Insta was just a full-blown crash reel.
Everyone crashed.
Dunlop had a big whoop.
He had a big
whoop. He did have a big one.
Off the throttle.
Slapped on that, yeah.
So I wanted to paint the scene of actually how sketchy this thing is. Carry on.
I was going to get to it because I'm sat on the grid and they're introducing me to all these sponsors, and one of the team sponsors is the SAT government, which is basically the county that Le Mans is in.
Yeah, like the council.
they also sponsor the team. So there's these guys in suits wanting to shake my hand and pictures with me and all that. And all I can think about is fucking turn one in the wet. One of them crashed on the sighting lap. And you have to be on the grid 45 minutes before the race starts. So it is literally, you just wobble around there and go and line up and then sit with the umbrellas and you sit for 45 minutes. One lad crashed on that lap and it wasn't even raining at that point. It just had like a bit of a sprinkler. And then, or just all hell broke loose in the race. There was more than 150 crashes in the first 6 hours. And I don't know, like, you got to be careful. Feel like I have to be careful what I say. But to me, there's a problem there. There's a problem there because the same conditions were at Spa at the weekend, and if there was 10 crashes
but it is similar it is so super similar when you watch it to how the old Donington used to be before it was resurfaced. You know, like, we've got the same layout and now Donington's ace, and you ride it in the wet and it feels like a normal track.
Yeah.
Whereas before they done it, you just would fall over.
Yeah.
And you don't know why. And I hate it when riders say, I don't know what happened, it wasn't my fault. But genuinely, there is certain conditions you just don't know what happens. You go around it 20 times and the 21st time you fall over.
So the pep talk for us was, we were lucky because we were on Pirellis. So the Superstock class all have to run Dunlops, and we know the Dunlop wets aren't as good as the Pirellis.
In
the experimental, we can run what we want.
So you can run EWC rules? Ish.
You can do literally what you want with it, but you're more...
2 fork legs, maybe? Just throwing it out there.
The comparable... I was, to be fair. I've been waiting. I think he's done well to hold his Tourette's in for that long. The comparable regs, though, are to Superstock.
Okay.
So... we knew that the Pirelli was better than the Dunlop, but not as good as the Bridgestone.
Yeah.
And they just said, all we have to do is just ride round.
Well,
everybody's going to fall off.
No matter what pace, you could fall off doing whatever. So it's almost a daft thing to say in a way.
Well, I think
it's an obvious thing to say, and I get it. But when the track's that bad,
I think it was maybe 7 or 8 laps in, and I just high-sided. And I high-sided at a point where I used to be good in the wet. Like when I was racing in stock 600, I was always good in the wet because I just had the confidence and the feel. I didn't do anything crazy. The bike wasn't at full lean angle with me at full throttle. I had, I don't know what the degrees would be, a little bit of lean angle. And I just tapped the throttle, and as I touched the throttle, it came right round on me and it fucking spat me over the top. Put me down really hard. Bike's tumbled into a million pieces. I picked it up, couldn't start it and get it back, so I've had to push it for about 1 kilometre and then push it over the track to get it back up pit lane. I was blown out my ass. The fucking visor's gone. All the clips are smashed off on my helmet, so I've always given my head a clout. Just like... And you walk back in the box and all the sponsors are there and you think the one thing I had to do was not crash. And then you look up at the screens and Michael Dunlop's just shut the throttle and it's fucking high-sided into the moon as well. Mm-hmm. It was just one of those things. It was just awful. But, then you look a twat, don't you? Because your 2 teammates go out in the same conditions and they didn't crash. And the times were respectable. So then it's on me. It's on Joe. Joe fucked up, didn't he? So I have to own it, but in the same breath, I think my one thing that lets me off is Gintoli crashed, Greg Black crashed. Everybody fell off because it was horrendous. And then, we were sort of floundering a little bit, sort of just chipping our way back through. Gabby, there started to be a dry line. So we also have inters, which the Dunlop guys didn't have. So put intermediates in. Gabby'd got like a dry line about fucking 6 inches wide, just got stuck in, and he went a little bit offline, took the front, went down, got the bike back. Then I went out, and coming out of Chappelle, we had to be fair, the dry line wasn't too small, it wasn't great, but if you've ridden Le Mans, haven't you? Mm-hmm. So like the exit of Chappelle and Museum, they're long, fast exits.
So you like building?
Yeah, but there isn't then a dry line. Because nobody's going in the same place. Wider. Yeah, everybody's kind of in a different place through there. And I thought I was pretty comfortable, to be honest with you, and I was behind actually the stock guy who was in third. I didn't know he was in third, but I just thought, if I just sit here at this pace, that's grand. Anyway, I've run a little bit offline, driving out. The thing let go on me, and I've never high-sided that high in my life. Never.
So this is the second high side.
This is the second high side. It was about 11 o'clock at night at this point. I did have a stint in between that was trouble-free. But as it came round, I had time to think, and I still remember now thinking, I want to get off. I just want to get off this ride. I don't want to do this anymore because I know how I just don't want to do this, and it fucking torpedoed me. And I've come down. I dislocated my shoulder again, which I've had a few issues with it. I picked the bike up with it dislocated, facing the wrong way. But because my shoulder's out, I couldn't turn the bike. So I'm asking the medics, the marshal to help me turn, and they were like, no, because they could see my shoulder. So I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Then the pain kicks in. So I tried to do my Mel Gibson Lethal Weapon and smash it off the tyre wall to bang it back in, because I thought I need to get it back in because I can't carry on like this. So I couldn't get it back in the ambulance. Eventually got to the med centre. We got it back in. He says, right, well, what are we doing? And to be fair to him, I just said, we strap it up and we go again. And he went, right, okay, I'll get the physio. You know, where some places they probably would have said, no, if you dislocate your shoulder, that's your race done, pal. So he strapped it, but strapped like my collarbone, which at the time I thought was a bit weird. But I said, my shoulder, yeah? And he said, yeah. Just kept going with the tape. I got back on the bike and I did 2 laps. And as I was accelerating out the same corner, my shoulder just pulled straight back out again.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, for fuck's sake. So managed to get the bike back in. Could not get my shoulder back in the second time. Would not go back in. Took about, it might have taken half an hour. And if anyone's ever properly dislocated a shoulder, the pain just gets worse. It's fucking horrific. So we managed to get it back in, and I cried when it finally went back in. I was so relieved the pain had stopped. I cried. That's how bad the pain was. It was horrendous. And they x-rayed it and they said, well, there's no brakes, but that's your race done. I was like, yeah, 100%. If it's falling out.
Did the lads go back out then?
Yeah, so they went back out, and I think they did a stint each, and then Ludo got taken out, so that rolled the bike up into a ball of snot. Then Gabby went out and crashed on someone's oil, and that rolled the bike up into another ball of snot. And by that point, it was like,
we're done.
We're fucking out of parts. We're out. It's game over by that point. So, unfortunately, we didn't finish the race. I drove home. I got into bed, and in my sleep, I put my hand above my head, and my shoulder came out again. So at 2 a.m, me and Zoe are trying to get it back in on the sofa.
Shut up, man.
So I says, I'll have to go to the hospital in the morning. Fair enough, there's something not quite right. So they x-rayed it and said, no, nothing's broken. We'll refer you to orthopaedics. Went to see the orthopaedic guy, and the surgeon sat there and went, well, we're going to do this broken shoulder then. I said, what do you mean broken? And he said, the front, there's no cup left in the shoulder. It's here. We can see it on the x-ray. And I said, all right, okay. So I said, right, well, it explains why my arm won't stay attached to my body anymore then. So, yeah, they basically said, you've got the option of we take the broken bit and screw that back on, or we can do this procedure where we take a bone that's underneath your collarbone that's already
clavicle.
It's called a lattige, modified lattige, they call it.
Your collarbone is your clavicle, isn't it?
Yeah. And
was it just called the lattige and you added the modified?
No, that's what they call it, modified lattige procedure. Because I watched all the videos to figure out what they were going to do, because I wanted to understand what they were going to do.
It's just a blank.
And
he hasn't got lattige written on there.
I was just checking. Checking the iPad.
I can't remember what your big word was. I've forgotten it already. And so they basically said, this is a problem that you're going to keep having because you've damaged all the rotator cuff, you've broken the bone out of it. So that's what we need to do. And I just said, well, what's the chance of riding bikes normally again? And he said, we've done this procedure on...
that wasn't Chrissy. That was obviously we were sitting in the house before, the whole Rouse family have totally left us to it, by the way. They're off seeing Sam Fender. It's a family, we were talking about your injury. And it was a case of, Chrissy's had that. It was like the teacup. The golf tee. You know what I mean? So part of it, and the golf ball wouldn't sit in.
That is exactly how he described it.
Yeah, so Chrissy's obviously had that bolted in when he had his... No, that was the COVID. That was the year he won the championship. They bolted them back together. Yeah. So you've literally had the same surgery as Chrissy.
The issue with it is that you lose the rotation in it. So the bit that they cut off already has a tendon. I don't know why I'm holding that. The bit they've cut off.
Christian's wound you up that much for that double fork leg comment. Like,
It's the angry Frenchman with pitchforks that are coming for you. It's got like a tendon or a ligament attached to it, and they have to basically pull it out and reroute it and then tighten everything up. But like my ability to do that with my arm has gone now. So I guess physio will bring it back. They've said 3 to 6 month recovery.
and how long has it been?
5 weeks in. They said no driving for 6 weeks, but I did 5 days, and then like
You got a mortgage to pay, son.
Well, exactly, and that's the argument, isn't it? When the surgeon's saying, "Oh, you need to sit in that chair for the next 6 weeks and do now," how about you start writing me some of that check that you're getting every month? Because I've got 2 angry chimps at home that need feeding, and an even angrier missus. And
like for context for people listening, like you can get insurance, but there's pretty much no insurance policy now. Very few.
I don't know of any. I genuinely don't know of any.
That will insure you against the clock. Yeah, so they'll insure you for riding bikes, for doing anything, but not if you're racing against the clock. So, and it's like almost impossible to prove otherwise. So, yeah, it's fucking. I don't know what you like. How do you?
Have you got combined insurance?
Yeah, when I was a kid.
We've had this conversation before.
I've got it from when I was like 7 years old.
That's it. So I got a very small payout for my break, and you
doesn't last long, does it?
No,
might cover 1 month's mortgage.
It's covered. Yeah, it's covered the mortgage for a month. That's
1
it.
month.
So
can't eat or anything.
No, can't turn the lights on. Can't run a bath. Like non-existent. All of that's gone.
But you can live there for another month.
Yeah, I can squat in my own house for another month. Yeah.
It's not your house, the bank owns it.
So where does that leave you now? Then what's your next? Like, what are you thinking? Like,
sorry. Well, I was supposed to go and do the classic endurance on a K1 750. Beautiful at Port Ricard. But that would have been 3 weeks after the surgery, and I just said, boys, I would just immediately let you down because I know I'm not going to be able to do it. And I was in a sling until week before last. So I had to sleep in the sling. I had to because I couldn't do anything with my arm. So there's 2 more rounds of that, which I'm pretty sure that we'll go and do. So I'd like to do 24 hours of Barcelona, but to be honest, I'm not going to be fit enough. It's at the end of this month.
Did you have a plan for bikes and stuff for that, or was it coming together?
Do you know, Gabby sent me over a team. I did speak to a team, and they sounded like they were going, and then they've decided they're not going to go now, so which was fair enough.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of Supersport seats. But to be honest with you, the nearer I've got to it, the more that I've just said, you know what, I'm just going to be fucking wasting people's time here. Let's be realistic. So, yeah, it's disappointing that I can't do that. Obviously, the Ball d'Or at the end of the year, but right now I don't know if I'm doing the Ball d'Or. So
it's a long wait. It's a long wait.
Not through my own choice. I don't know if my seat will be there, so we'll see.
EWC itself this year has been ace.
Yeah, I was going to say, should we while we're on the topic of EWC,
obviously Le Mans was a proper, not a lottery because it's not, but it was. There was a massive extra man thrown in the equation with the weather, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And not the weather because it's the track conditions.
Do you know what? That is it. That is it to a T. There doesn't need to be anything when people have said, "Oh, how bad was the weather?" It didn't rain that much. The rain wasn't that bad.
But rain's fine when you have rain ties and you have all. It's literally the track. Conditions.
I have never ridden on a track. It was like ice. That's the only way I can describe it.
But it actually, because it made, even if.
Well, the guys that were leading.
There was times when teams got reasonable leads, but it was one of them where it was never a given because they could literally just fall over and
at
any point, and a 2-lap lead would be gone in an instant. So it was ace.
Yeah.
And then I watched the Spa. I pretty much watched the whole 8 hours of Spa on live timing because I just get glued to it, and I can't stop watching live timing.
I got to commentate it, which was brilliant.
That must have been the longest shit known. Just sat there, and Nicola knocking on the door. You're right.
Funny enough, not the longest one I've ever took, actually.
That's another episode.
Just to come in and get you off the toilet because your legs are gone.
Yeah. Elbows in your thighs.
Big red marks.
I think his missus would fucking leave him there as long as possible.
But it has been absolutely ace, hasn't it? Like the first round. Well, first up we've got O'Halloran that we all know from BSB winning his first.
Jesus, yeah.
Is that the first endurance race he'd done?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
So
yes, it was. I think it was.
You know, like he's never done like a wild card route, has he?
Has he been to Suzuka? I feel like he has been to Suzuka.
He's done Suzuka.
Did he do that? He did it with Honda, did he?
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But
Honda
then
Legends.
But I always see Suzuka's a bit of a standalone event.
Well, it is because you only get
like
four or five.
Yeah, you get all the
teams.
manufacturers and then maybe a couple of the big
But still,
private
first,
teams. But yeah,
like
it's mega.
for him, that must have been insane to like stand top step of your first. Well, certainly your first 24 hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mad.
impressive.
But he crashed. I'm pretty sure he crashed. That's how bad it was. Yeah.
But then, then on the topic of people from BSB doing it, I just see the two Hawk boys over at Spa. Like,
Mate, that was brilliant.
Yeah,
McPhee got a last minute call up, and then Nesbitt got a super last minute call up because on the practice day, Krummenacher crocked himself, and then Nesbitt got the phone call.
Oh, because John was there, he's gone, no, lad.
Yeah. Know anyone? Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah. But then it didn't look like a lot of teams ran two riders, which round there at 8 hours it's hard work, but it wouldn't be.
Impossible.
I've done 6 hours with 2 hours round with two riders around there, and it's all right to be fair. You know, it's just because it was wet, it was a little bit slow, wasn't it? So,
but the start of the race was dry. McPhee was up to third at one point. It was ace
for a
to
long
watch.
time.
It was
Seeing
like
him setting up.
it was proper cool. I was
Doing
like, "Go on,
moves at the start.
John, let's have a bit."
Yeah, he rode well.
Yeah, he did.
Has Nesbitt ever done it? Spa?
Don't think
Oh,
so.
I doubt it. Not that I know of. I doubt it.
Have you ever done Spa?
No.
Mate, get that on your list.
Best track in the
Well,
world.
it'd be cool to do like I'd love to. Obviously, not doing EWC because it's not going to happen, but would love to do like a classic endurance or something just for the.
No, they have like a no limits one. No, sorry, it's not no limits. It's a no limits
Style.
It's a it's
Like a club
it's a
event.
6 hour spa, and it's basically just a
Isn't Bjorn Esmond doing what's the
Just like he
series?
does the classic one, doesn't he?
Yeah, the bikes that his riding look
They're
lovely.
trick, aren't they?
Yeah, like really, really trick.
well, that's the
stuff.
championship
That's the same. Right,
That's the same
okay.
championship,
Connecting the dots. Yeah, right.
yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but it's been a good, Spa was brilliant. I think, you got Tom Oliver in there, Tom Ward, Danny Webb, James Westmoreland, Westies like doing.
Well,
West,
they
Westie back.
podiumed in the stock in the stock class.
Yeah, they were third in stock at Le Mans.
Le Mans.
Mm-hmm.
And then 6th in class at Spa. 6th or 8th.
8th, I think.
I should know. I seen him yesterday.
I was about to say, you literally looked at the timesheets the entire 8 hours. I'm hoping you know.
I think they had a bit of
No,
a
different-
bit of
that's
a
a
rough
different
race,
race.
but yeah, they again good solid championship points and
Yeah.
You commentating?
I was for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
You and Taylor, wasn't it?
yeah. Me and T-Mac. Yeah.
So halfway into the season because it is literally halfway because it's a 24 and an 8, and then we've got an 8 and a 24 to finish the season.
Yeah.
So it is literally halfway. Yata leading. Kawasaki WeBike Trickstar are second actually, which must have just been through being consistent.
It was so the way the points work in a 24-hour race, there's points every 8 hours, I think it is. Yeah. So
right.
so that's
you
why
accumulate points on the way
as
through,
you're going,
and then you get a lump sum at the end.
Yeah.
So if you crash out, then
Is that how it works with FS3 for you?
Don't know. I've not accumulated any points.
Christian's got style points for punching the ground. Well, you look, is that what the bruises are off?
Fuck off.
Oh, you touched the nerve. There you go.
You fucking all deserve it.
But yeah, but the Kawasaki in Le Mans were outstanding, and they nearly won the race. And Yat pipped them, and it was like I did feel. I think,
but the fact they'd led it for a big duration meant they were accumulating points.
That's quite a cool system. I didn't realise that's how that works.
So
it just means that if you're still in it and you're always in it, aren't you?
Well, it just means like Cert that Dan rides with the factory Suzuki team. They they finished 4th at Spa. Well, really, they want to be obviously on the podium, but 4th is a good handful of points, and actually,
the championship,
it'll nearly always go down to the Bol d'Or.
Yes,
nearly always, and that's how a bit like the BSB, they do the shootout. Kind of the whole season's a little bit like that with the EWC. You can afford to have a shit one at the 8 hours, but if you shit out at the 24,
because it's literally only worth a third of the main points.
Just remind us of the championship again. So rounds wise,
so look, they do Le Mans in
Spa.
April, Spa in June, Suzuka's beginning of August, and then mid to late September is.
So there's 4 rounds.
4 rounds.
Yeah, 2 24s and 2 8s.
There used to be 5 or
there's a
6
few
rounds.
more.
They used to go to Hockenheim, didn't they? Where else did they
Yoshi at the moment, so the world champions are 6th at the minute. Yeah, BMW are third. FCC, TSR, who won at Spa, have moved up to fourth.
But
ERC Endurance, who've come back after a year out, switched from Ducatis to BMWs.
Which is who
they're fifth.
Who Mikelček rides for.
Yes, and that team's managed by Xavi Forres.
And is it really?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And is he
I
riding?
didn't realise he managed it. Because he
managed
rode
it.
for...
He
rode
rode
for
for-
He's a busy man at the moment, because he manages that, and then he manages is it Attack Yamaha? He manages one of the Yamaha squads with Schultz and a young lad, Blake Davis, in America.
I didn't know that. Because he's then
It's
also
not Attack Yamaha. It's
he's also the test rider.
Stack or Strack.
No, they are Attack on there.
I don't know. Anyway, he manages that.
But he's also a test rider for Bimoto as well, isn't he?
I know he's a busy boy.
Jesus.
No. Sorry. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know when we did the Foggy Pod, right, he was talking about when like they did World Endurance and World Superbikes and did the TT. Like, do you think a top level Superbike rider now could ride Superbike, World or BSB, and do World Endurance?
What, a full set?
Full set.
If they didn't clash, I was desperate to do both this year, but well, not all of it, but yeah, to do EWC. I would love to do a season of EWC. I pushed really hard to get on the Kawasaki. There wasn't the opportunity in the
What, on the wee bike, Kawasaki?
I don't really care.
Anything that's green.
And the first round, Le Mans clashed with the official BSB tests, and I can't forgo me main duties, so that was that one out. And then Suzuka's fine, because I know we've got a good few BSB boys doing it, so that one would have been fine. But then the last round doesn't count. So if you can only do 50% of the championship, you're a big turn off to most of the teams, because and Spa is an 8 hour, so they don't necessarily need you if you're just an extra one.
Two rider team.
So you're now down to you're now down to going, well, I can do one race, and then they go.
And even if they put you in,
and that's in Japan, so they don't even want you there, because that's a 2-rider team if you really want it.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're not needed.
And for the 8 hour races, you only have 3 riders. So normally that fourth man
Gets booted out.
Doesn't even go. You're not even used.
You're just a fluffer.
Honestly,
you're not even a fluffer.
You're not even a fluffer.
They don't even invite you. You just
on the topic, you might know the answer to this. On the topic of doing multiple championships, I've heard a rumour, because we'll get on to World Superbikes.
Mikelček's doing Stock 1000 in UK and World Endurance. That's one person.
Oh, didn't know that. That in the not too distant future, we could see some changes with World Superbike not being World Superbike anymore, and that ultimately there would be like multiple European championships.
Okay.
Some would race in the winter and some in the summer. So basically, like as a Superbike rider in BSB, you could ultimately go and do 2 championships.
Southern Hemisphere.
There's big talk of the Aussie series being fully in our winter, so a rider could go and do it 2 championships a year.
That'd be that. Who would want to do that? But it's obviously the.
It would be mint. Because you don't work all year round anyway, do you? So like
or ever.
So no, but
Very honest, Christian.
Basically, it means that riders could have like 2 salaries, essentially. And it is a good idea. It is a good thing, and I could see like.
Do you know it's a good idea because you can add riders to series that wouldn't always get chances.
Do like transatlantic racing as well, couldn't you? You could have transatlantic events and.
It would make sense definitely for the ones that you can double up on. If you can have in different hemispheres seasons that don't clash, you could have an Asian series that doesn't clash with, for example, and that's that way around. That would be cool. And then with EWC, definitely if that didn't clash, that would also be really cool because
it's a different discipline as well, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way.
It's just different. Like I like that. I know. I think that'd be class. I'd love to see that. Just a little bit more accessible, isn't it? For people?
I have heard a rumor of it. Yeah,
because it's difficult to make a career like in racing. Like everyone knows that, right? But that makes it actually possible. One, because there's more racing, there's more opportunity for sponsors, all the rest of it, like that side of it, as organisations to make money and ultimately for riders to make money. But also it means that if you can earn 20 grand there and 20 grand there, like that becomes, I'm generalising, Christian needs 200 grand to do anything.
Imagine what's costing Grace to have here tonight.
I'm only kidding.
He's not.
But you know what I mean? Like it becomes a possible, you could earn a living, right? By racing all year round, essentially.
Yeah.
I love the idea of that. On that note, should we talk about World Superbikes?
No.
Yeah. What? No.
Well, no. Well, because we've done you. I feel like we should talk about. Well, do you want to do Worlds or BSB?
No, I tell you what. We started talking about BSB. Let's finish a few bits about BSB, starting with our chum over here.
Our very own British Superbike rider, Christian.
How has
The elder statesman of Kawasaki.
Yes.
new team, new bike, new challenge. What's his immediate thoughts?
It's not been the start to the season I'd hoped it was going to be. We didn't go and do the official test with everyone at Navarra.
No, you did not.
But
No.
we did. So we did our own little private test on a track day, but we had our own session at Andalusia. I'd never been there. Probably the most difficult track I've ever had to learn. It was quite funny because I rolled out of pit lane. I'd never been there before. Max didn't do the first session. It was just me. Obviously, the team are watching on pit wall to see their new big acquisition. They can't have been more disappointed if they tried to watch me wobble around a track I'd never been before. I literally didn't have a clue where I was going. But after a couple of days, I found my feet and I proper enjoyed it. It was a mega test. Me and Max were absolutely peaking. I get on well with Max. Didn't know him loads beforehand, but knew him all right. And then
Seems like a good lad.
yeah, we've hit it off real good. Real nice kid, super mega talented.
Young enough to be your son. Oh, sorry.
Easily.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. And a bit.
Maybe he is.
He is. I was about to say,
No,
Max
I
is a good-looking fella. You know, I'd say this might. Oh, it's all coming out the woodwork tonight, isn't it? Straight away. That's
Sorry, mate.
I promise I was not hanging around the South End.
hanging out with Summit.
23 years ago. But no, yeah, the test was mega, genuinely really good. And yeah, then we just went to do the racing, and Alton was pretty good, but I made a few balls up. We were reasonably competitive. I did a pretty good time in qualifying that I was happy with, and then made an absolute fuck up, lost the front at Cascades, a silly crash. I'd run offline, my lap was over. I wasn't on a push lap, it was in quali. I'd done my fast lap, and I went to go again, messed it up, ran wide, went to just turn back onto the main line and literally lost the front on the dirt, on the dirty part of the
Track, yeah.
the track. But the thing, as much it wasn't a big crash, it did a frame. So this was just before the first race. I was like, fuck's sake,
I didn't know you'd crashed in qualifying. You kept that quiet.
yeah, it was literally nothing, but it was a lot,
Yes.
for what it was. And it was my first crash. I was annoyed, but it was what it was.
Kawasaki's have been known for this is not anything against the engineering, but they are known to be a softer frame. The Kawasaki.
Yeah, I think it's also where
in comparison to BMWs. Basically, it's there was price tag differences, and hold on. I feel like I should full disclosure of that I'm not slagging off any products here, but they are a softer frame, so obviously it saves other components as far as.
I think it's more a design thing. I think it's where they've got designed in softer and stronger parts.
Yes.
If the lock stops hit in a certain place, it just punches a hole in the frame. That's all. It's just nature of it. So it wasn't a big hit or anything. It just happened to be the way that the forks touched.
There we are.
So yeah, they've done a frame. Literally, I didn't know it'd done a frame, but I came in 10 minutes before the first race, and they're still working frantically on the bike. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, oh, it did a frame. So they rebuilt me a bike. It was mega. Went out in the first race, and I was in, I'd like to say the lead group, but Brad Ray was so far up the road, it wasn't the lead group. He was away.
Yeah, but you can ease it outliers.
I was in that first gaggle that wasn't gaggling for the lead.
About
you know what I mean?
7th or 8th, weren't you? Something like that.
No, I wasn't. I was 5th or 7th or 8th. So
There was a group. You were about 7th or 8th.
I like that.
But that is the first. That's the first group.
I feel like I should have my own iPad on this side. You and me make notes like that. But I remember that one.
yeah,
Fifth,
I was in the first group, and then I took the front of the last corner. I don't know, mid-race, something like that. And it's probably one of the most angriest I've been at doing something, because first race of the year, you don't want to make a mistake. I was so upset with myself because we were somewhere in the mix. And the other thing I was annoyed about is the fact I'd actually took the front properly on a race lap. I know I'd done it earlier, but I'd been struggling with front end feel with the bike pretty much from day one. And I'd started to trust it, because as much as I didn't feel it,
You knew it was there.
it kept sticking.
Yeah, it wasn't letting go.
I just need to get used to this.
Yeah. So I just trust it. And then when it let go, I knew, I was like, we're going to have trust issues now, because that feeling was actually telling me something.
Yeah. It's been texting your ex, hasn't it?
So I was more gutted, because I knew that was going to have, as much as you don't want it to have a knock-on effect, I knew we're going to have to do something to try and fix the feeling, or I'm going to have to just accept that is how it is and rein it in a little bit. So, yeah, I was upset.
Because like in that same race, Max had a little off before you, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Is
Max got a mint
Max
start.
Max had a massive off. I don't
sorry.
mind saying that.
Sorry, no,
He had a
sorry.
big
It was,
crash.
sorry, I got that the wrong way around.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought his was Max. Anyway, but where, like, was
He
it
crashed
open
good.
laps?
He crashed in. He was right at the front, running strong.
was right up there,
mid-start,
wasn't
and he. Max, I'm going to call you on this. Youthful exuberance. You crashed trying.
I love it.
Like,
So
you
he came
crashed
in-
trying.
He came in, he was like, oh yeah. Oh, full fuel tank caught me out. And I watched the footage. I went, fucking diving up the inside of Kyle into shell
Yeah.
on the first flying lap might do it, lad. Like,
Fair play though.
Yeah, fair play, 100%
He went
fair
for
play.
it.
But
He went for it.
go for
The
it.
fuel tank was paying no part.
I mean, there was 17 more laps to have a go at that, but you know, never mind. But he was riding mint.
yeah, he was. Yeah, and has been. Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, so yeah, Alton first race crashed, and actually, do you know what? There wasn't after doing a frame in qualifying 2 hours earlier. I was like, oh no, the bike literally it scratched a few stickers, right?
You hung on to it into the gravel. Didn't you?
So
The classic hidden approach. You mean? You know what I mean? There's a bike cartwheel, and you somehow pluck it out the air, tuck it under your arm like Santa, and just go. Let's place this down nicely here.
So I was stood there watching the rest of the race, and then the marshal said, "Oh, like if you want to ride it back afterwards, you'll save us a job."
That's a new rule, isn't it?
No,
in the briefing.
no.
Is
A
it?
couple of years
it's
older
been
than
going for a
I.
while.
No, I think in qualifying you can ride your bike if you have a little off and the marshals approve
if the marshals approve it,
and
it's
only
not-
certain classes,
and you have to ride it straight back to the.
Yeah, which is I think that it shows the trust
But
within
this
the
was
championship.
after a race
though, you know
anyway,
what I
so
mean?
it's a bit different.
Yeah, sorry.
I was like, yeah, mint. I won't feel quite as much of a cunt because I've ridden it back. So at least I can prove that it's not too bad. You know, I can actually deliver a bike back to them. You know,
Under
it's
its
not
own-
in.
under
it's
its own
not.
steam.
Yeah, it's not in the van of shame.
I feel
So
like you're going to say something here, which I didn't know. But go on, finish your story.
By the way, Christian's a hell of a wheelie rider. By the way, he could wheelie pitch it all the way back in.
no, so I waited for the end of the race, and I kept having this Tourette's. I was so angry, I kept effing and jeffing. So apologies to anyone who's in the grandstand at the last corner, because I would stand there and randomly 5 minutes later just give out the biggest F bombs because it would build up. Anyway, it's fine. So I thought, right, the bike's been down. I'll just literally bimble it back. I won't even open the throttle. Just rode it back on the clutch. You have to go into part firme because you don't go back to the garage. So anyway, went back, apologised to the team for making an error and blah blah blah. And then they got the bike back eventually after part firme is finished. Plugged it in, and crew chief was like, "Oh, fucking mechanics have started the bike. The marshals have started the bike up." I went, no, they didn't. I was with it. He went, oh, well, it's run for 25 seconds.
with no oil.
I went, yeah. I rode it back. He was like, what do you mean you've rode it back? He was like, it starved itself of oil the whole way back. And he went, why didn't you rev it? I went, oh, because I was trying to be careful. He went, that's why it didn't pick up any oil pressure. So they literally had to then put a new engine in it. So they built me 2 bikes in a day. My first day on the job with the team, they built me 2 bikes. Like,
I knew you were going to say that.
a first day at work
I
is
would have
that's a
done
bad first day at
exactly
work.
that.
I would have done-
I would have ridden it back on the clutch.
To be
That's
fair,
exactly what I would have
I'm with you two.
To be fair, he did say afterwards, he went, okay, that's on us for not telling you. Because
Why has it done
some
that, then?
bikes you can and can't. It's just,
They're
It's just-
particularly.
It's a second pickup on the
it's
oil
how the
gallery, isn't it?
sumps are and stuff. And apparently Kawasaki's once they've been on the side, and there are other manufacturers that do it, and some others don't. Some pick their oil back up. But the fact I didn't just give it a blip.
If
would've-
you'd have blipped it, it would have just...
when you
Yeah,
first
it would've
started,
picked
if you'd
it
have gone, whap, it would have got some oil pressure, and then it would have been all right.
So anyway, they built me 2 bikes on the first day.
So guess who's the favourite son, Max?
Day 2, well, it was a top 10. That was all right. We went to Donington. We've been struggling with something with the bike, and it reared its head the whole weekend. So I wasn't where I was supposed to be. You're on about before about the lap times. They are absolutely insane this year,
Jeez.
and I mean insane. So I don't know how true it is, but basically Kawasaki themselves, we're pretty much, as far as I'm aware, the only manufacturer that's had some kind of concession, should we call it. We've had a little upgrade, all right? First day in Spain, I rode last year's engine. There's a slight modification this year, which I rode on day 2, and I felt a good difference.
Yeah.
And it was in the 2 places that, obviously I don't know about it, but in the 2 places that they said, well, that's where we normally struggle. So I was like, mint. All right, that's going to bring us nearer to the front, okay? Jason won, I think, the first race at Donington last year, whichever one it was.
Oh, yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, right, Jason won it last year by 5 seconds. I'm going to win it by 6 or 7 because I've got a slightly better bike than him, and obviously I believe I'm as good at least. So that'll do. And I wasn't. I was, I don't know, 7th or 8th, or I don't know what place, but it wasn't. It definitely wasn't where I wanted it to be. So it's odd because I really expected us to be nearer to the front, a lot nearer. And the team as well, we're all scratching our heads a little bit as to what exactly has gone on. There's a different tyre this year. It's the only real thing that we can come up with that's made a change, because it has made a substantial change to all the lap times.
Is Max having the same problems?
I was about to say, because Max is probably the only familiar.
Yeah, Max having the same problems. Max is in a very different situation to me because Max has never ridden anything else.
Yeah.
Ever.
How long were you on that Ducati for?
Well, I did 4 years with a Suzuki year in between.
No, but it's interesting you're talking about the engine upgrades. You'd think, well, Max would be the first one to come in and go, lads, you know what I mean? That's either shit or not. You know, like,
I think
he felt a tangible difference.
That's good. No, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Right. It's not major, right?
No.
No,
they're just little things. Yeah.
They're balancing the championships World Superbike BSB, where you're starting with standard bikes or whatever. They have to try and balance the rules. So they gave us a bit of a balance to try and bring
it closer,
a bit closer into the mix, and it wasn't not in the mix.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bit more into the mix.
More, yeah.
So I was obviously peaking because I wasn't on it last year, but I know that if that's their weak points and that's going to bring
it closer,
a 1/10 of a second a lap would be insanely amazing. You know, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
at this level you're talking like you know what I mean? It's like the 10th. It is. No, that's the fact, isn't it? You know what I mean?
So yeah, it's been a bit trying because I expect a lot of myself, and it's not been how I'd hoped. The tyre must have made a difference because the lap times are so insanely another world to what we had last year. So Jason's race winning time last year would have finished in 15th in the same race this year.
That was my next question. You see what I mean?
I finished 7th and would have won it by over 5 seconds last year. But we're not racing last year.
Not quite yet 8 seconds, mate. But
it's a stupid analogy and it's a stupid comparison because we're not racing last year. But what's happened is everything's moved and something has changed. And the only thing that's changed for everyone is the tyre. And when you change something for everyone, it affects positively and negatively different bikes in different ways.
At a different rate.
Yeah. So all we need to do is try and understand how to make that work better for us and try and, again, close the gap. So it's been disappointing because I thought we were going to be way more. I go racing to do better than what I'm doing now. But on the positive, I'm literally having an amazing time within the environment and I do really enjoy riding the bike. It's such a user-friendly thing. Like, I feel oddly comfortable in it. It's not comfortable because you're riding it as fast as you can, but I feel at one with the bike in a way. You know, not all bikes I've had that connection with. So I do feel good and I'm enjoying the atmosphere. I'm enjoying the environment. We're working like fuck to try and get closer. We're not a million miles off. Like, you know, like the last race we were, I don't know where I finished, 7th or 8th. And
it's like,
we were in front of
it's not coming
some
across
real good guys.
A concern. Like, so watching you and your body language and your approach to it, it doesn't come across as a concern. I think like there's plenty of time still in the season and you are obviously making some steps. I know you're disappointed, but it doesn't come across like it's a huge concern. If you looked at other people, there's some other people who probably should be more, like Danny Kent's one of them. Mm-hmm. Same bike, same team. If anything, Packer should have got better,
yeah.
And he's not where anybody thought he would be. And I'm sure they'll sort that out as well. But yeah, I don't think it's like, it's not great.
It's a bit like you said before, your perception changes. When we had that test in Andalusia, honestly, we were buzzing because
I'm going to fucking win.
Max went about 3 seconds faster than he'd ever been there on a Superbike, and they've been there every year. And I was like, well, flipping it, if that's your upgrade, that you know, like, this is going to be ace. You're like, this is
wolf in sheep's clothing, you know what I mean?
Buzzing.
Like,
but we had no reference other than other people's lap times, but it was only me and him to reference against. So, yeah, we left there peaking. And yes, if you actually set a target of what lap times you want, we're exceeding it every time, but that's no good. You've got to race
the environment
what you're racing right now. So it's changed a lot.
Yeah,
So it is
So
what it is.
what? I know you're saying tyres, but is it also Brad Ray coming back?
No,
No?
not one bit.
Okay.
Not one bit.
Oh, you mean because he's gone?
Does it drag people forward? No.
Well, they've never been anywhere. They've never been anywhere near him, have they?
Because but you hear everyone on the commentary teams and everything like that, and the keyboard warriors and everyone going, "Fuck, it's all because we've got a contender back in the championship. Everyone's up the pace," and it's like I think the conversation that you've literally just had has kind of just ruled that out massively.
It's not an unfair comment. What Brad's doing, Brad has
is
been
phenomenal.
Dominant.
Brad is just being, he is some pilot,
incredible,
man.
And I'm really pleased for him because he's had a tough couple of years in World Superbikes, and it's really nice for him. He's a good lad, Brad, and it's it's nice for him to go and do what he's doing. It's not nice for us who's racing against him, but it's been well impressive.
He's actually impressive. I really enjoy watching him and watching the whole thing. This looks a bit effortless, and
he's
I'm sure
proper chilled out, isn't he?
Obviously,
the thing is, he's had a couple of years on a. He's had time absolutely scratching for not even necessarily always being in the points on a subpar, not fully competitive bike, having to override. Now he's on a good package and probably not having to go to the nth degree and to be at the front.
Yeah.
Not having to
so
learn.
Life is probably pretty good.
Good.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's probably very relaxed. And he's still living abroad, isn't he? And coming over.
He still lives in Andorra.
I like that. I think that's pretty cool.
Obviously, Steve Rogers back in the championship.
Because McPhee lives in Andorra still, doesn't he?
Yeah, I just think the whole... I don't know.
He's a brilliant addition, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm... There's some great additions this year in general.
He's such a good lad, and he's proper... Donington, he was fucking fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't take him long till you see him,
proper on it every week,
at the front. He's not far off it now, but he's really...
Yeah.
In fact, Donington, he did one lap in practice, lost the front of the old hairpin.
Yeah, he fucking wrote a bike
He
off,
did not ride on Friday.
Yeah.
And then he did some insane... He did a 27-something after doing 5 laps in quali. It was just some mind-blowing lap out of nowhere, and you're like, that is pure talent. That is absolutely pure talent.
Is he your wild card for the season?
To do what?
Shock results. Yeah.
Not shock results. Yeah, he'll be at the front for sure. He's mega. If you win Moto3 World Championship races, then
you're a doer.
You're a doer.
The problem is because he has been doing what he's been doing. Again, I think people are a little bit. They've sort of forgotten about him a little bit, haven't they? You don't think of McPhee being in BSB because he's off doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I know.
So when he's turned up and he's doing it, it won't be a surprise. It just won't be a surprise, will it? The class of the lad is world, isn't it? He's a world class rider.
I think there's so many people in the entire grid that are like that this year, and it's class to watch. If you just go from the front down over and look at Brad, obviously we've talked about Brad. He's come back. He's looks effortless at the front. Then you've got Kyle, who is still doing an unbelievable job. Yeah, he's got a bit of a gap to go to Brad, and Brad seems to have the edge at the minute. But
on the sister bike, isn't it? No. PCR built that bike.
Yeah.
No. These are the facts. Obviously, I know the Allen thing. We can go through it.
And same machinery, right?
Different suspension. So obviously Kyle's on the Machubo with the PCR contract, and they've gone to Orleans through Raceways on that side.
It's what they know, right?
By the way, I'm not saying that's the difference. I'm just saying those are the difference between the bikes. So we're both built in the same workshop down in Birmingham, down at PCR there. So
did I see him on a Ducati at No Limits?
Yeah, but that's to put that one to bed. He was
the guy that's currently doing my van, which I'm going to take you back later. He raced with Kyle in the endurance race.
Yeah, see that. Yeah,
is that the big guy with the tattoos all over his neck? Is that where you?
Yeah.
God, Bennett, he's got some photos on his phone. You ask about them there. So about Kyle, there's some difference there. I tell you what,
there has been a genuine rumour about Kyle.
Yeah, I think I've heard the story that I got is just on Kyle quickly. Looks fast, Yeah, he hasn't got quite the edge on Brad at the minute, but he looks very settled and like it doesn't.
It's not phasing him.
It's not panicking.
It's not phasing him. Yeah.
He was at Croft on a road bike Ducati, which apparently is Alan's bike.
That is 100% Alan's fun bike that he took to Spain. Because I'm looking at it going, he's got Alan. Alan just said, just take and go have a giggle.
Because he couldn't get that was the only practice bike he could get, basically. So that was the story. He was at a No Limits meeting at Croft, and he was doing 120s, and on a standard road bike. Scott Redden's got the lap record there, which is just slightly under that apparently. And he had said that he's like wanted to come back on the Sunday and beat his lap record, but it rained. But I mean, that is serious lap time we're doing around there.
You're talking about flat 20s?
Yeah. On a road bike with road suspension.
SC3s as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. And he was going to put a different tyre in and have a good go at it. And Redden was there on a sort of hybrid stock guy.
The other thing with Kyle, just going back to BSB properly, is if you look how he, purposely or not, did his championship last year, it was all at the end.
Yeah.
He literally came into his own. In fact, pre-Knock Hill, he was 5th, 6th, 7th in the championship.
Yeah.
Or just post Knock Hill.
It's too soon to make a call on anything. How many times have we seen this with a Halloran? It was in the bag, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the one thing I will totally agree on that side of things is it's just last year he seems like a different person, leading in that championship.
Well, yeah, we're talking about
we
that
literally just been talking about it right now. He just seems like
he's got a confidence about him that just seems I've got work to do, but I'm cool with that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and it would be.
There's been some other interest, like Leon won a race the first time in I don't know how long. Long time.
Yeah, on the Oxford Ducati. Yeah, that was. I tell you I tell you who was
Brooksy,
a standout
Brooksy
ride
on the podium for the first time for Dow.
Yeah.
Storms very nearly got
on the
podiums
BM.
at Alton.
I personally think that was the ride of the meeting. On the Alton Park meeting, on that BM, because it's been nowhere near.
I don't know why everyone's so shocked that he's going well on it.
I'm not shocked.
No,
but I think that was genuinely, I think that totally went under the carpet.
I think
is this coming from?
It didn't go under the radar because he told that many people about it.
Well, I don't follow him on socials, but
I think what Josh did on that Dow bike is more of a surprise than what Storm's done.
Do you know what? In that race that Josh got that podium, he came. I don't know if he came past me or if he was already in front. But anyway, Josh did a Josh thing where when he makes time, you can't see how or why he makes time. He just rides away from you in a very slow and steady,
frustrating
thing. Yeah. You don't go. He's insane there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't break that late. Very slowly. Yeah.
And I almost weirdly watched his progress through that race from as he gradually got further and further away from me. But you know what I mean? And then he ended up on the box, and it was well impressive because he came from a long way back.
Yeah. Wasn't he about 11th or something? Or was he further back?
Well, I don't know, but it was impressive.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the result and thinking, I need to watch. I don't know why, but I hadn't watched the race yet. Went on to watch it, and I was like, he's fucking 11th. Like, how's he got? What's happened here? Someone must have gone down or something. And then I watched, and he just
picked his way through.
Yeah,
just chip away. Yeah.
Fair play, and like it's cool for the Dow team as well. Like I think they've totally reorganised themselves to focus on British Championship and proves that they're getting there. So I think that was class.
Be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes with that.
Yeah.
At the moment, it looks like there's three. There's Brad, Kyle, and Glenn that seem to always have the pace so far.
Yeah.
And then, but with BSB, literally anyone can be in the mix from there afterwards. Honda have had a pretty quiet start so far of all the Superbike teams.
Yeah, that doesn't. Again, I think if you sort of see Bridewell's body language and some of the interviews he's done, he's not happy with how things are, but all gain probably not worried because I think when it comes to it, he'll dig in if he has to.
Do you think that Bridewell's testing
of the World
Superbike is a help or a hindrance?
Well, you would like to think that
because he's doing a lot.
Yeah,
literally, I clicked on some Moto2 test in Barcelona yesterday or something.
He was there.
Thomas Bridewell.
Was he?
Yeah. On a Superbike, but because Honda UK are doing.
You just sit on the pot and just look at live timing all day.
So what's his role in that?
he pedals like 100 miles a day.
I might be wrong, but Honda UK have basically got the contract to develop Honda World Superbikes or Honda.
They're the test team.
They're the test team. So Tommy is the tester. So you often see him on MotoGP tests, or Honda sometimes will rent Jerez or whatever, and then literally there's Tommy Bridewell, and then.
I think that
So it must be difficult.
The problem
I'm
with
sure
that,
it's a very different
well,
bike.
it's like we've said this a million times, haven't we? It's not easy to transition riding from the World Superbike regulations. Look at Sykesy, you know.
There's another one to talk about. He was back at Donington.
Yeah, it was,
He was, yeah. He did race,
On
didn't
the
he?
Lewis Rollo
Yeah, he
ride.
did race.
He did, yeah.
How did he get on?
Not fantastic,
great.
I don't
Not
think.
that well if you didn't know he raced.
No, but did he not miss a race?
I can't mind.
I think, I don't know exactly what. He didn't have much time. I mean, he's not raced in 3 years or something like that.
Yeah, fucking hell.
And he actually did really respectable lap times. The trouble is, everyone's doing very respectable lap times. So I think he was towards the back, but it was, if you actually delve into what he did, it was impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, the depth of field is just horrendous. Like, it's ridiculous.
But for Tommy, that's probably quite a challenge to do that, to be switching between, because there'll be intense test days as well, you know, won't they? If he's there for 2 or 3 days, be doing a lot of laps. A lot of laps.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think that someone in his position, it doesn't affect them, but maybe it does. If you asked him, I'm pretty sure the answer would be no.
No, I don't think he'd.
I think he would say no.
He'd
Yeah,
say no,
he would say
I'm
no.
not going to do anything that's going to hinder my championship chances.
But also, he'd probably think it's helping him. So, he would say that, wouldn't he? Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, it's timing. So, yeah, I don't think it's probably not a distraction.
But look at it from his point of view, that if there's a possibility from that something opens into World Superbikes, he's going to do it, because you look at a bigger picture, don't you?
The talking about testing, there's been a bit of a change. This might have to get taken out, I don't know. So, what's it? But after the ruling with Shaky and all that, we now can't take a Superbike to any MSV circuit without having all the BSB safety protocols in place. It's essentially a testing ban without being a testing ban.
So you can't ride a Superbike at a public at any MSV circuit that isn't basically a BSB weekend,
spec,
because you
yes.
wouldn't have
Recticel, 3 marshals on every post, or whatever their thing is, X number of medics per number of riders, helicopter on call.
Fucking hell.
Do
they roll all that out for an official test? Do they put
Now,
all
yes.
of those in? So
Now,
when they do the pre-season,
Yes,
they're going to
now,
have to.
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, the basically race weekends is the pre-season tests. Funny enough, I had a sponsor come to Alton for the test. They run a race car team as well. They're local, OMG, actually the sponsor of this pod. And he couldn't believe that you had one ticket to get in. You never used to, but you do now, which is fair enough. But he couldn't believe that everyone was there and set up the way it was. He was like, this is a test day. This is like a race weekend. He's like, I can't believe this. Like,
That's
this is
professionalism, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's good. Like, it's brilliant. It should be like that. If you go to World Superbike tests and stuff, they're not like that. Like, they're just, pretty closed off, aren't they? So I think that's pretty good. And yeah, look, if there's implications of not riding Superbikes after that ruling or whatever, it's always in the interest of safety. And if it can make it safer, then why not?
I mean, you can still go to non-MSV tracks. You can still do Mallory, Kirkstone, Bishop's Court, Knockhill,
Croft.
Yeah.
Croft.
Is that for active Superbike
Anglesey.
riders?
No, Superbikes.
So in theory,
No.
no. This is the question. This is the question. If I could go buy,
It's a technical specification. It's the bike.
if I
The riders
buy,
can do what they want.
if I buy your FS3 Kawasaki,
Don't know. That is a good question.
I thought that's what
no. But like you think you turn up at track days and lads who have got lucky enough to have the money can go buy themselves full Superbike spec Motec, the full 9 yards.
Well, they can have more spec.
They could have literally world level. In theory,
Or is it?
does that stop them?
There's got to be something
know.
there technical saying if you are a
Professional
Active rider on your bike.
Yeah.
in that championship, but then that could be any championship. Would that stop? That would stop theoretically
Well,
Gwyn
it sounds-
Foley,
we don't
who
know
is a
the-
part of BSB.
I don't listen.
Yeah.
I don't know the full ins and outs. But
Oh no!
basically, we wanted to go and test something because we need to find some stuff.
Yeah.
and you were told no.
But yeah, it's not possible. But no, it's a no for everybody. I literally know. Danny Kent messaged me 2 days ago. He's at a little Irish track, and he was asking Northern Irish track, and he was asking me what the lap times were. So it is. Teams are going elsewhere.
Did he lie to him?
No, I actually spent.
You thought he hesitated. Did he notice that?
No,
He
I
hesitated.
did.
He went, yeah.
Do you know what I
He
did?
sent him the fucking YouTube video
I did.
of the laugh because he's fucking that proud of it from 10 years ago.
I knew I was considerably fucking fast. So I spent a long period of time finding the video on my phone and eventually did and took a
While he was having a shit.
I took a screenshot. It was
That's why he's that thin, isn't he? He's
was
just
a
always
busy
having a shit. That's...
and I took a screenshot of the dash just at least to prove I wasn't like bullshitting.
Yeah.
And
What was his lap time?
I don't know. I hope he didn't beat
can't-
me because I'm pretty sure at the time that was a circuit record.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I
Yeah.
tell you what, I can't hope when we get him on the show. That's sort of definite, by the way.
That's where we all went on that.
Yeah, that was
last
brilliant. I
time.
loved it, yeah.
That was a good bit of crack, that.
Anyway.
Did anyone... It's very off topic, but did anyone see Jeremy Williams' post recently about...
The MCUI.
I got halfway through it, but I was driving.
Yeah, like bit. I mean, would not judge too much, but he basically said like
It was about scrutineering.
yeah, they didn't scrutineer them, and then they all had to. They eventually stopped arguing, and seemingly they all started at the back of the grid, and then the conditions were mixed, so they had like a minute to change tyres, and they basically stopped them racing. So they didn't let them out the gate, and there was like not sufficient time. And his argument is just that the state of short circuit racing in Ireland, no disrespect, there's only a couple of tracks. It's obviously not as well funded as the likes of BSB and stuff like that. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because over mainland England, there's so many series that there's quite a lot of well-run series you can go to at a national, like a club level, even
in comparison to what they have in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, like
you know what I
there's
mean?
so
It's
many
like
things, and I just thought
We
that
say that there's less and less series in the UK.
Yeah, there is,
we
but
had this
in
conversation
comparison-
yesterday. There's what? No Limits, Bemsey,
North Gloucester.
North Gloucester.
Emra. That's about it.
North
That
East
is-
Club, one round. No,
Yeah, one round.
Well, Emra's only at
and by
Mallory,
the way,
isn't it?
by the way, that's it for North East Club. You know,
But no more.
no more.
So actually, do you know what?
it
If
really?
you want to go club racing now, it's hard to find a series that you can bed yourself into because there's definitely going to be fast guys in. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes in the past you would get
You could go
steadier
Auto
clubs.
66, couldn't you?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Well,
just
you end up
go-
just people had doing track day racing, I guess, is kind of like essentially what happens now. But there is very well run. Like No Limits is so well run, it's unbelievable. Like we had a fantastic day on their track day. Like we had a bit of issue with noise on our F900 and stuff, and they were fantastic. Like wanted to help, they wanted to get out there. It's ran very well. They stopped it because of rain. Like brilliant. So then there's the wet days are the same, whereas. I kind of feel for them. A little bit. Like I'm not sure the detail on Jeremy's stuff. I'm pretty sure he's not lying, but it's a shame that I just read that and I thought that is a shame
A shame for who?
for anybody trying to race domestically in Northern Ireland.
The class of club isn't very good.
But it's
Is that no? I don't know.
yeah basically
Yeah, okay.
that it's just
yeah. I didn't know which point you were making. Sorry.
yeah they have
What you
them
were making.
like we're very fortunate I guess.
We have got very good series over here that are very well run
Yeah,
from the top down.
so interesting.
Are we done for BSB?
I think we've covered quite a lot there. I tell you what, we'll quickly touch on Supersport because I think standout person in Supersport for me this year has been Dean Harrison.
Yes.
Well, I love to see him doing well on a 600. Like it's not an easy class. He's not on. Let's be honest. Jack Kennedy's made that Honda look very, very good, but also Dean Harrison is like nipping at his heels.
Well,
And
at Donington,
he was
Dean
quicker.
Dean had the pace on him. Jack got the better of him in the racing.
Yeah.
But Dean was.
Dean led for
Dean,
a few laps,
I
didn't
think Dean topped 2 sessions. It was definitely one. But yeah, Dean was above Jack in every session bar the races, and I know that's where it counts. But
Yeah.
he had genuine pace
All weekend.
all weekend.
And you can't say it's because he's on some sort of like superior machine. I just think he's leveled up as a.
Oh God, I
Yeah,
couldn't
well,
agree
well
more.
impressive.
And the thing that's more impressive is that obviously we'll go in the next episode, like the full roads review. But the fact that he's done Supersport, straight on a Superbike with arguably next to fuck all testing. I mean, like for a Superbike rider, and went straight in at the deep end, like on the podium.
Yeah.
2 stock 1,000 wins. It's like, oh, we could talk about him all day.
Well, I
but
think
what he leveling up is the best way. He's just bit the screen and cracked on.
Well, the fact he was that fast at Donington for me was interesting because it means he had genuine pace. Because I was watching it thinking, you've got your money meeting next week, lad. Just like calm down a little bit. But he obviously felt that good within himself. He was happy to go at that pace. He didn't.
It says a lot.
Probably didn't feel he was pulling himself apart to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was a struggle, he might have just reined it in and took a whatever position. because he knows he's got a big couple of weeks coming up.
But you know, I think that speaks a lot about, you've just said there, so he goes to the TT, does wins on big bikes. Arguably, the argument is that, well, if you're riding that bike every week in British Championship, you feel comfortable on it. Does that not just speak to the mindset over than actual time on the machine? So he's riding at a high level, feeling good, confident. That's probably done more for him than running around. No disrespect to Dean, he was in the points and the odd top 10 on a superbike, but he's definitely not someone you would say who's going to win British superbike races. And again, no disrespect to Dean for that. He'd probably be the first person to say it. So that it seems to have done in the world good, doesn't it?
Perfect example of confidence, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you need the definition of confidence,
that's it.
And what the results do for that, it's that, isn't it?
That lad,
and that's the difference between riding all right and thinking, fucking, I can do this.
Yeah, it's feeling the front tyre, isn't it?
He just feels comfortable, doesn't he? He's in a good headspace. He's obviously getting on with everyone in the team.
Yeah.
You know, everything's working for him. I think it's mega.
Supersport this year is really strong, actually. Super strong this year. There's been a few years where it's not had the depth, and this year it's really
seems to have, Ben Curry surprised me a little bit. Like, he's been strong when I thought
you'd be a bit stronger.
Well,
I'm not all the way.
Very quiet Alton, and then an amazing Donington.
Yes,
and that sort of like was a good point, because I think Ben's always been strong, always been good. But when you have to put, again, no disrespect to Ben, when you put him against Jack and Luke, he always ends up. There's on his day, like, yes, but I always feel like them two have had the edge. Maybe not even the out and out lap time, but the mental edge. I think they always take it a bit to the next level in a race. But Donington, he flipping took
rode away from him.
Yeah, he did. Like, total hats off, brilliant ride, and was man of the meeting really from a Supersport perspective, I would say.
We're going like World Superbike news, but the biggest World Superbike news. But it isn't just World Superbike news.
It's MotoGP news.
It's MotoGP news. Like this,
Jesus,
This has got me excited. Toprak is going to MotoGP.
I thought it was a wind-up. Everything at the minute seems to be a wind-up in this sport. And
I'm so excited for this.
Is this actually happening?
It is happening.
Do you know what it is, right? We've all kind of known it's happening. It's been speculated for years,
We haven't known, though, have we?
but we've all sort of...
You've hoped.
We've been told that it's going to happen, and it hasn't come to fruition, and we've all sat there
and then it's come out of the blue.
Do you not just think, I'm a bit underwhelmed?
Oh, shut up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I didn't think that's how he was going to go. I really loved the Honda story. I thought the rumour about him riding for Honda in World Superbike next year...
Sorry, Toprak, Josh is underwhelmed by your move to MotoGP.
No, I'm not, but like...
It's all right, he doesn't want to do the interview when we get him back on anyway.
No, what I'm saying is, listen, you fucking bunch of fuckers, right? You know what I mean. Like,
No, I
I didn't think he would end up on a
Yamaha.
essentially privateer Yamaha, yeah.
Yeah, but
what else was there?
do you know what?
That was why I loved the Honda thing. I thought that's like a fucking fairy tale story. That.
Do you know what? There's not much difference now, is there, between a factory bike and a privateer bike?
Well, you could argue the privateer bikes are better in some.
Yeah,
respect,
can you really? Well, the thing is, with being on privateer bike is you're not having to test the new stuff. So you're always on the bike that has had the bits
stuff,
you go, that
It's developed.
Yeah.
But
Can you imagine how much pressure's on him now? Because it's like, I think that's some of the biggest news to be in motorbike racing for a long time, that.
Oh, it's amazing.
I think it's the biggest, bigger than Johnny leaving Kawasaki, bigger than...
Oh, it's massive. There's such an argument of it. Is he the official GOAT, or alien, whatever the nickname is for him? And I think we're going to find out now, aren't we?
I can't believe it's a Yamaha. Him leaving Yamaha.
That's what I was just about to say.
I can't believe it's Yamaha.
What, left Yamaha, gone to BMW, now back to Yamaha?
You know what I mean? But the fact that
should he have just stayed put? Was that on the cards all along?
Well, he was a very loyal lad.
I mean, he has won a world championship in between, so it's arguably worked out for him.
Yeah.
And potentially two, because him and Bulliger are going at it like crazy this year.
Yeah.
At it.
I wonder if that was the only conversation from
At it.
if that was the only MotoGP opportunity on the table. We're never going to know. But
what Josh mentioned, so the big rumour was like he's going to move to Honda World Superbike, do 1 year in Honda World Superbike, and then
win the title.
Race for 1 year in World Superbike Honda, and then when the tyres change in 2026 for MotoGP on Pirellis,
he
was going to switch the same year that everyone else is essentially switching, because then he's at less of a disadvantage. Because next year he doesn't. Yes, it's a motorbike, but the tyres make. He's got to feel something that is. Different. Yeah, I doubt he's ever ridden Michelin's, to be fair. He's not in a series that I know of. So
Yeah, so like it's sort of all me.
He could ride a barn gate, that boy.
There's so many rumours, but that's sort of like
it sounded the most plausible, didn't
he's
it?
like the Red Bull's already got Honda, like that all fits lovely. And you think, then that came out and I was like, whoa, yeah, that's mint. But I kind of wish it was that, if you know what I mean. I don't know, maybe just.
I bet you're really shit at Christmas, yeah. Or like, if Anna she'd buy you a present and think this is going to blow his fucking socks off, and then you open it and go, I'm really old and underwhelmed. Appreciate it, but I'm underwhelmed.
No,
like,
I would never say that. I must admit, I am a terrible gift receiver. I'm a much better gift giver. But I've
never had a gift off you. I did
I bought
actually.
you a t-shirt. You've never worn it.
I was underwhelmed with that.
Yeah, it's only because it's 20 sizes too big.
Where the fuck was our team?
No, it was.
Don't worry.
Don't worry, they can't hear this.
I know
the mic,
I
mate,
know
you know what I
where
mean? But where the fuck?
It was a pit.
fucking-
It was a bit of a
mate.
pity gift. It was a bit of a pity.
You know what the good thing is, Joe? We've got this side.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck you, Josh.
Yeah, fuck you.
It's about the t-shirt,
Fucking
How do we think? Like, I know how I think. I think he's going to be amazing. I think.
Yeah, do you think he's going to be...
I think you'll be up there.
I think that guy has got some Marquez-esque.
special about him?
rawness?
Right, he's got a body awareness. He's a gymnast. He can do things that other people can't do.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? He's got a balance. He's got a spatial balance awareness that allows him to do something special.
Do you not think the amount of time he's spent on production bikes is going to mean that getting on those prototype MotoGP
Be harder.
bikes is not going to be... Because I don't think
That
it's
will be
going
harder.
to be... I don't want to upset Christian, but
Don't worry, Josh will buy him another t-shirt to cheer him up.
Underwhelmed with his performance.
Ooh.
Well, I tell you what the thing is with MotoGP, which
What would class as a bad performance? That's the thing.
Yeah, and that's exactly
So look at
So I'm not saying he's going to be shit and it's going to be obviously going to be shit, because before a load of Turkish people start laying into me, because I know they're very passionate about it. I think it's mega for the sport, and I'm so glad that he's doing it because he is special and there's something special about him.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's going to be the...
it's not going to be the dream.
No.
I think
I think
we need to wait a couple of years. don't we?
Yeah, he needs time. He's going to need time.
Do you not think that's more about MotoGP rather than riders? Like, see when we used to Marquez dominating, and then he come back or even when he got MotoGP, like he did dominate for a bit when everything was kind of all looking rosy, but now, when he came back on the Ducati first, I thought I expected him to just like fuck off, but I think what that really highlights is the bike is such, and the team and the engineering side of MotoGP is so much a piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
That it reduces that like gap.
Well, the Ducati dominance is absolutely, utterly ridiculous right now. And it's funny because they're not that far in front of the other ones.
Yes.
But they are just enough.
And when you look
every time, regardless of which rider it is, they've got 7 out of 8 in the top 8 in the championship, top 9.
And there's a lot of them. And when we as spectators, right, measure the
6
performance based on whether you're first or second, third or fourth or fifth, but actually what we probably don't appreciate, and some of us probably do versus others, but what we don't appreciate is the gaps. So a fourth or a fifth you might think, I kind of thought he'd be on the podium, but he might be like so close.
If Toprak is
performing
fourth or
so
fifth
well
next year, that will be outstanding.
It would.
I think if he scores top 10s reasonably regularly, that is incredible.
Yeah. But I think there'll be people that expect him to go in there, and again, these people that have no concept. He's out the top 3. He's doing shit, and it's like,
right.
No, if he's
you'll
top 10,
get that, won't you? Like, you'll get that from someone.
In your
People who don't know what
predictions,
they're talking about.
in your predictions, what's going to be his highest result next year?
I think you see him on the podium.
Yeah. I agree.
Podium?
I'll take that.
5th.
Should we have some money on it? Should we have a little bet?
No.
We can get
Right,
the
go on.
patrons involved.
You always do.
What's
this.
your-
No,
Yeah,
well,
do
dry,
that.
no wet racing. Has to be in the dry. Highest result.
So it can't be a Zarco style win at Le Mans in...
By the way, good shout out, Zarco. What a boy.
What a guy.
What a race.
What a guy.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Must have been the longest 15 laps or whatever of his life.
And on the total opposite end, like equally as much of a legend, and you fucking heart bleeds from this year, Quartararo. Feel sorry for that kid. Like, you think
Yeah. He's riding so well on that bike.
Yeah, and if the bike improves next year or whatever, Right, fuck, he'll be taking it, Marquez.
Because if you look at, like,
Doing an engine change, aren't they?
if you look at his
V4, yeah.
V4, if you look at his, well, Rins is struggling, I think, this year, but Miller's doing really good. Miller's
Which is
probably
mid.
doing better than expected.
Yeah,
And if you're Toprak, you sat there watching Quartararo going, I get that bike next year.
Yes, it's true.
Because that's going to get passed down to the Pramac boys, isn't it?
will they not get new bikes? Just they'll get V4 bikes, no?
Oh,
Well,
when's
that's
it
a good-
coming out?
Don't know.
Well, next year the
Oh, is it?
capacity changes next year,
Oh.
doesn't it?
Is that the new rule, the big rule change?
Is that-
No, I thought that
it's
was
all
the following-
26. I think
Yeah,
everything's
it's-
26.
Is it?
It is
I think
26
so.
next year.
26.
Yeah, it is 26.
It comes after
Oh,
28,
yeah.
29. You
Oh,
know, like-
man. Got done. It's 27. I meant 27.
If you'd have read the fucking notes, you'd have had the answer to that.
Get your notes up.
I'm only kidding.
Do you know what? The other thing is, you just said it means a lot about it's a lot about the bike, right? But I feel really bad for saying it, but I've underestimated how good Marc Marquez is.
Yeah, he's the legend, isn't he?
How do you mean?
Hold on, wait.
Because I didn't think he was going to come back and do what he's doing. I just didn't see it. And then last year, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of vindicated in my thought process. And now I'm like,
That's what I mean.
wow.
Yeah.
Absolute wow. And I'm also gutted because Pecco Bagnaia is my he's my dream guy.
You're a
I would
fan.
marry him tomorrow.
Weird, isn't it? That?
I mean, he is weird, isn't he?
It's creepy.
It pains
Why do you think
me
I'm
to see
squeezing
it.
over this
To be
week?
fair, one of the patrons did ask me about Pecco. I'll try and find who it was. So thank you for that question. But yeah, and they said, "Do you think he can bring it back?" I do. I think Pecco can do anything. But Mark is so good.
Okay.
Having said that, rider of the year for me so far is his brother.
Yes.
But I'm literally
Yeah.
sitting here waiting to interrupt you, going,
It's
"Can
so-
anyone like talk about this?" Alex,
so funny.
What happened at Christmas dinner last year? You know what I mean? And did the
Will
boys
there be
just?
a point where it starts to get awkward?
Did you reckon the boys just
No,
sat down?
I don't
I
think
don't
they
think it
will.
will. Yeah. Like,
Have you seen the documentary yet? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. It was so good.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
now,
Have you watched
is it dubbed? Is it
dubbed.
in Spanish?
No, it's in Spanish, but they do
Yeah.
a bit of speaking in English. The subtitles, but
I'm
it's
just not-
just
I'm a bit-
brilliant.
You
It's
can read,
brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not very good at it, so I really struggle to watch
No,
stuff
it's
like
good.
that. Yeah.
You wouldn't struggle. It's
No.
it's brilliant, isn't it?
But they did a really good piece on them from the Silverstone, with the pair of them as well at the Silverstone
I see that. Yeah, yeah.
Did they?
on TNT, which I think you can get online as well
But it
as
does,
a watch.
Do you know that Mark, I think I've said this before as well, I've seen an interview somewhere with Mark where he said, Alex is better than me.
yeah, when he was coming into Moto3, I remember him saying that. Like, oh, you think
I'm good? You wait till my brother gets here because he's going to be another level. And Mark has always said that about his brother, which is there on the satellite bike. And
To Dom's point, though, like,
What happened at Christmas dinner?
yeah, like, what is the dynamic in that household? They think, like, in a way, I think it almost fuels it. But have you seen Scott Reddins being, like, so vocal in the, like, press about, like, how friendly all the MotoGP is? He's like, I don't understand it. Like, they go training together, and not so much the brothers, but, like, there's a lot
The
of
riders.
them training. He's like, I don't get that. Which I think,
Scott doesn't.
yeah, he's been quite vocal about it. There's been a few articles I've read where he's basically saying, what is this? They're all training together. Like, I hated them. They're like,
in order to want to compete with them.
yeah, which I get to a degree. But
See, I sort of don't. I don't see that mentality. I can't see the point in that mentality.
Yeah,
Imagine
some people
walking around with a
have
chip on
to.
your shoulder like that.
I think some people have to. Like, there is, like, some people just have to do that. Like, if you've got to not like them. Like, Foggy was like that.
Yeah,
he
he was,
openly
yeah.
admitted that. He's like,
Yeah,
you know, like,
so he said that, didn't he?
he says, I fucking couldn't be your mate. I just don't like you. I think that's why he's sort of famous for saying him and Whittam were good friends, because they never challenged each other, whether class or whatever, or whatever. But it is interesting that Scott's saying that, and I do think, yeah, there is a lot of that now. It's a very different paddock and a very different. I don't know if it's the influence from Liberty Media or how the scale of MotoGP is massive now. Maybe it has changed it a little bit, but
I think, to your point, I don't think that that seems like a really just your sort of picture perfect family. To be honest with you, I'm sure the stuff goes on behind closed doors, but it's it's two brothers that have full family support from granddad and grandma and mum and dad, and dad's at all the rounds. And I honestly think
it's pretty cool to see it.
Yeah, I think it's mega.
It's never been done before, is it?
No,
Honestly, the 1-2s that they're doing is
Yeah,
just
it's mad, isn't it?
I think if Alex
they
won,
think of flip a coin to see who's winning this week. But yeah, I tell you what, that is good. Just referring to the notes, boys. I'd love to talk about Max Cooks' wild card. I thought it was fucking mint,
So did I.
and he rode bloody well. Like, he basically was taking it to his teammate who's been riding their bikes for a while and stuff. What, like, he probably shouldn't have had the results that he had. And
Which were?
well, he's inside the top 20 at one point.
No,
wasn't
so he was
I don't
last,
know the
stone
exact-
last, but
Was he?
yeah,
In the
but
race?
listen, he was gonna be.
I thought he did.
He had to have been.
He did
there
some
was
sessions
there was a
where-
damp session where I think he finished 12th or 13th. Something like he was well in the mix. We were coaching somewhere, and we were
Yeah,
about to-
this is why I sort of pointed it, because I know you had a bit of influence over.
Well, I
his
didn't have
decision.
influence. He
said on the
He
interview.
told me it was because of me, but it wasn't. He made his own mind up. But we'd finished. I was getting out my levers, and he
Sounds
went.
like a bad night out with him.
No, but he goes- he goes-
Now to
He
do with me.
literally
Now
came
to do with
over
me.
in his usual vacant expression, which he has all the time, and he's like, "Oh, I've just been asked to do the MotoGP." Bear in mind, this is Wednesday, and Silverstone is
2 days away.
2 days away. I've just been asked to do the MotoGP, Moto3 ride, and alongside. So Eddie O'Shea is his essentially brother-in-law. They're not married to his, but he's shagging his sister, right?
Call it as you say it. There. Not see it, hopefully.
But he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No, but listen, him and they've been together since day dot. You know, like they're this
Yeah.
they're a lovely couple, Max and Tilly. So yeah, so obviously it's basically going to race with his brother-in-law for the MLAV team.
All the family
OMG.
there and stuff. That's so cool.
And he went, yeah, so I've been asked to do it, but I said no. I went, what'd you say no for? I do tend to look at things quite black and white and like just.
No shit.
And he's like, well, what? I told him a story about one opportunity that I turned down once, and I wish I'd took it because you just never know. So that was my first point. You know, you never know. I went.
Tell us the story.
We'll put a pin in that and we'll hear that. I want to hear that.
No, it was.
Tell a story.
It's not a long story. Literally, it was a good few years ago. I got a chance. I got a phone call to race as one of the CRT MotoGP bikes. So in MotoGP, it wasn't just for one round. It was like for up to 3 because the guy was pretty injured. And I couldn't do it. The team I was with didn't agree to it, which I understand. But I still think I should have had the balls to just go, you know what?
Doing it.
That is,
I'll find another ride afterwards. Yeah.
Which bike was
or
it,
I
can you
won't,
say?
but I don't care. It was one of the forward bikes. It wasn't a good bike, but it was a
It was 3 rounds of
it was a
MotoGP.
MotoGP bike.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I told him that, and I regret having never took that opportunity and taking opportunities in life and this, that, and the other. And I just said, listen, you've got the chance to race in your home Grand Prix. How many people get to say they've raced in the home Grand Prix? And I then went, what have you got to lose? And again, little matter of fact, but I went, the worst that can happen is you crash it and you hurt yourself. You're not going to be BSB champion this year. You probably will be in the future, but not this year. So you've not really lost a great deal. But potentially you're going to be last, but potentially you get a wet session or a wet race and you stick it somewhere and somebody sees your name, and it might not be this year, but it might be the following year or something, and then someone else gets injured and they go, who should we phone up? And they go, God, remember that lad that just did a one-off race and then was wherever he was?
Yeah.
Turned out not a great deal happened, but he did get that one session where he showed his potential, and I just thought it was amazing. And it takes a massive ball sack to commit to doing something where you know you're not going to be competitive, because he's not.
Yeah.
He was 15 kilos overweight, which
And he's not big.
He's not big.
I know.
That's serious.
No.
So he was losing 0.8 of a second per straight.
I'm laughing because I know how much overweight that is.
0.8 of a second per straight. He said he didn't realise how slow they were. It's been a while since he's ridden one. So it takes, I think, a real man to accept this is going to be a really tough weekend and know I'm going to be miles off
My
the pace.
ego's going to take a kick.
My ego's going to take a kicking.
Yeah.
But you know what? He handled it in such a good way with a smile on his face. Enjoyed the experience from what I can tell of. That's what he told me. So he probably feels bad that I made him do it.
What was his reason for saying no?
Because he said, I'll just be last and this, that and the other. And I went, great, no pressure. If you go and do something good, even better. Nobody's going to expect anything.
That's very wise coming from you.
Well, it's not wise, but it's just the black and white.
No,
Pros and cons.
Good thing you did.
Experience. It's what happened when they went from like cross-ply tyres.
But I thought it was amazing. But if we're going to go for Brits in, so Eddie O'Shea, is chipping away slowly.
Yep.
Scott Ogden looks like he's got pace. He's just on the back of that group for that front group. Like the last round, where was the last round? He was right on the back of that frontish group.
Where was the last round?
It was 12th anyway. I know that.
I mean, Scott's mint. He's doing a really good job, isn't he? And he's on the KTM,
He is doing well.
which is a bike to be on.
I want to jump one little subject, right? British Talent Cup, wet race, Peter Willis. I'm giving you the biggest shout out ever. He won the race by 5 seconds.
Oh, yes.
And he turns up from Northern Ireland every year, right? And God love him. And he can't kick me for like saying this, but he's right near the back. You know what I mean? Goes with his family, enjoys it. And he won that race in a MotoGP theatre.
Yeah, class.
Really?
Mate, and you just think, no, but you just think,
That's a fair shout.
you just think, mate,
Unreal.
if you're going to do something, like,
He could pack in now and then.
no, that's what I mean. You know what I mean?
Every box, yeah.
Unreal, absolutely unreal. I tell you what, like even like Jack Burrows, he was sitting third in that
he
race,
got took out,
and he got
didn't he?
taken out. You know what I
Seen
mean? But
that,
you think
yeah.
you got lads.
Well, Jack Burrows was not having it last year. He wasn't doing that great. Not like it's
And
his
then
first run in Snetterton, where tricky conditions. He was like Bosch.
He's made a step, hasn't he, this year?
Oh
He's been
mate,
up towards the
he's
front.
not like comparing him to not directly comparing him, but like Jack's always like there,
Further forward,
there,
yeah.
further. But Peter Willis just woke up and chose violence that day. And just went, mate, what a run, like it was just
Mega
like you
that,
know when you're looking at something going, Lauren. I think to yourselves, bro. No. Like, Jesus wept. It was, oh mate, absolutely mega that.
And then just finally for Brits, Dixon in Moto 2 or Moto 2 in general. Do you know what was cool? Manu Gonzalez testing that Aprilia. I'm going to go for that.
Seeing that, yeah.
That's well. And do you know what? It was 1 second off Ralph Fernandez, who I guess was his benchmark after
Yeah,
one day.
Fuck no. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
After he's been on it for 3 days at Aragon, by the way, which is
Yeah.
massive.
On the subject of rider market at MotoGP, rumour or thing come out today that Bastianini has come to an agreement with Tech 3 to get out of his contract.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like then you've got a seat being taken at Pramac by Toprak.
Which I guess will be Miguel moving.
Yeah.
Oliveira.
Hell, where they're all going to go?
Do you know what might be tough at the moment? Is really bad timing for Marini. So Marini's really crocked himself at a Suzuka test.
Yes,
He is
He's still in
he's
hospital.
still in Japan.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's really hurt himself. He's okay,
But he's injured.
He's really hurt himself, and it's a shame. It's always a shame, but I mean it's a shame for timing because they were really Honda in MotoGP are seemingly starting to find their feet a little bit.
Yeah.
Mir, as much as he crashes every race he does, he is crashing it at least further towards the front than he used to be.
Yeah.
And Marini was putting in some reasonable results, so I don't know why he sits exactly in the rider market. He's probably a bit happier because the Toprak thing's not him now, because one of those was probably going to get the boot. But yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
There's not many seats, is there?
I think you'd see a few of them going to World Superbikes.
Yeah.
I think you could see in World Superbike, there's 2 seats at BMW. What's his chops?
Yeah, what show me we're going to do with that BMC, by the way?
Yeah, well, that's the topic.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Hold on. Hey,
Vandermark's not assigned. So there's potentially 2 seats there. I think you could see our MotoGP rider in one of them top seats because they will run out and they won't want to go back to Moto 2.
And very recent news, is that Ducati haven't agreed to continue Bautista's contract.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit more to go with it.
Yeah.
It's still potential. It's going
The
to
one
happen.
I'd seen they were looking for a way out of his contract. That's the one I'd read. Was that they were looking for.
His wording seems to be more, I've got a contract, and their wording is, it's just we had a conversation.
Yeah.
For next year.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a clash in terms of ideology.
But what's his chops has signed, Danny?
What's his chops?
Kind of teammate, I can't remember his name. Italian.
Bulliger?
Yes.
Yeah,
Bulliger.
mega.
He's a class actor.
Yeah, he's cool to watch. And he was really highly rated when he came into Moto 3, wasn't he? They were like, fuck, he's VR46, like he's going to be the man. And for whatever reason, didn't get going in Grand Prix. And he's come here and shown what he can do, can't he?
Yeah.
There's potentially, I can't believe we're doing silly season stuff already. It's flipping June.
Well, but that's 6 months.
Johnny Ray, well, there's potentially a seat at Yamaha because there's a strong rumour of a second Mark VDS bike and Johnny going there.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. I really would love. I'm a massive Johnny Ray fan.
Me too. Good to see him back from his injury, by the way.
Yeah, and I'd love to see him just fucking win a race on that Yamaha. Just to
It's
show that he
horrible
can
seeing
do it.
him struggle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't describe it any other way. He's struggling on it.
6-time world champion.
6-time world
Did you
champion.
see that crash he had at Magny Court on the outlet? He had a weird crash,
yes,
lost
he
the
did.
rear.
Where the race
But
came out.
They were that session. Did you watch it? There was quite a few
of them,
and it was really odd because I think they were testing a different tyre,
right?
and there was a few off throttle high sides.
Yeah,
But it looked like it was going to spit him to the moon.
Yeah,
in the
luckily it
slow-mo,
didn't,
and you could see him you could almost see his body language of,
Well,
fuck, I want to get off.
but Bullhager did have a fucking send him to the moon.
That was off throttle.
So that was same session.
Yeah.
He had a massive crash. But yeah, I think World Superbikes is pretty cool at the minute. I'm
cool.
enjoying watching it.
There's a worry about Redding's team because that's
I've heard that that's done, innit? That's run out of money, which is a shame because I think Redding, Foggy's team in BSB, I think you'll see Scott Redding riding that bike.
strong shout.
Yeah, I think he's the man for that.
Shout out to James Tosland because I think he's doing a mega job at commentating.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot better.
Yeah. No, I think he was shit at the start. Not shit. Yeah, no, he was shit. Yeah, it wasn't great, was it? I
Early
think he was
BT
quite.
Sports days, he
was quite rigid
Yeah.
with it all. But I don't know whether he'll ever hear this. But I think he's having sat in a box. It's not easy to try and do that talking bit where you're filling in the constant filling in, and it's easy as a pundit to be asked questions and give you technical and talk about what you see. But the job that, having just done it at the weekend, the guy who I sit next to, he can be watching the Indy 500 or the IndyCar racing on his iPad, and he's talking about what's on the screen, and it's just flowing. And I just think, I have no idea how you do that. And Tosland is now doing that.
Yeah,
and I think he's doing a superb job.
He's doing a really good, and he's sort of well matched to World Superbike, isn't he? He sort of fits the bill there, I think.
My last random question of the evening. Is there anything in the rules that you can do a manufacturer change in British?
No.
You mean for the Kyle thing?
No, I'm thinking you on Bermuda. You know,
that would be next year. So that was another Patreon.
That was a bit. Yeah, we should probably address it.
But just there's nothing in the rules that you can't do a manufacturer
mid-season.
Change. Yeah,
it wouldn't happen though. For us, sorry, I'm talking about FS3. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen for another team.
Yeah, but there's nothing.
Go to the Kyle situation then.
Yeah, for the Kyle, there's no reason I could see why they wouldn't just suddenly rock up with a Ducati.
Ducati, yeah.
Because why,
because they can't.
It doesn't make any sense to me and my logical brain.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why not.
So Dom, to your point, do the championship specify you can't do that? I don't think there's any championship in the world that specifies you can't do that.
Oh no, just curious.
But the manufacturers, so your Kawasaki contract, you're the factory team. If there is such a thing in BSB, and
you're contracted with that manufacturer for the season,
so that wouldn't happen.
Well, obviously, 1st of December.
OMG Nitrous competitions are not the official team.
Yeah, they were Yamaha.
But they
that's
are not.
OMG, but now Nitrous.
They're not.
Yeah,
they're not.
But
so they can do what they want.
Exactly. So they technically
but
could.
You being Team Green, could you go Bermuda?
Yeah. So for those that don't know that are listening, the Bermuda is Kawasaki powered and it's owned by the same
company.
Yeah.
But it's still technically an Italian business, but it's owned by Kawasaki.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. But no, I'm just thinking, in theory, could Darren and everyone just pick up the phone and just, hey, Christian,
in theory,
this
yes,
weekend.
but it's not going to happen.
No, just in theory.
Could do next year. It'd be quite cool, I think.
I would love to see a Bermuda.
Weirdly, I've raced Bermuda before. I've raced everything.
And then you got disqualified. Long story.
I've raced everything.
Hey, before
I've been about that long.
I think we should.
One of them around the TT would be mega. Bermuda.
Why?
They've already done it. Why? Because obviously you can run full worlds package at the TT. People don't realise that.
Yeah, but why would it be better than anything else? Everything else can run.
No, I'm talking as a fan here.
As a fan,
sorry.
Hold on. I'm not talking. Hold on. I like it how Christian looked at me and went, "I would like the full actual dimension." You know, I would like you to tell me why, Dominic. That's better. Because it looks fucking mint, Christian. That's why.
I thought you meant it had something about it that would work well around there. Because I don't know what works well around there.
I think it's probably the last Superbike you could have as a bespoke, in theory. You know what I mean?
You could build it so it worked specifically for that.
Well, Bermuda are a smaller company that can make changes year on, year out. Obviously, there's so many legal loopholes that they have to jump, blah, blah, blah. But they could make a bespoke motorcycle, in theory, for the TT. Yeah, but you
actually...
It's all about hard brass on that side. You know what I mean?
Topic, actually, you could take any non-production bike to the TT.
You could take a Metis from Fox.
Senior,
for the senior, you can do what you want, yeah.
The Britain?
Within reason. Well, they have. They run
Yeah,
the,
no,
they run the
It's not within
RC.
reason, though, is it? You can do what you want, can't you?
I don't think it's
Is that gone
quite
now?
that cutting. It's not like Formula One. It used to be the Formula One, wasn't it?
Oh, I see what you mean. No,
Yeah.
I thought you meant Formula One, the car race.
No. There used to be class. It used to be called the Formula One, wasn't it? Or
I
whatever.
thought the senior was literally run what you brung.
Well, I think you can run a Grand Prix
Rock
bike.
up and do what you want.
Like,
Well, obviously, Rutter was the last one.
Gary
on the
Johnson tried to run the
213B.
750 in the senior. They wouldn't let him, which I totally agree with.
That's
yes.
probably a safety thing, isn't
Of course it is. Closing
Yeah,
speed's
I
fucking
get
human,
that.
mate.
Yeah, but you say that. Fucking Dunlop did 130 mile an hour on Ducati.
Yeah,
They
but
did
not in a straight
127 in the second one,
Yeah,
not on
not-
the straight line,
not-
mate.
not in a straight line.
Fucking
Yeah.
Jesus, if you close down on one of them things, my God, makes me look quick.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, we do need two things.
What?
There's some good Patreon questions.
Yeah, there
which we
is.
He's got to go home here, so let's
Yeah,
crack.
that's fine.
The
on-
chimps need feeding.
On the Patreon questions, the majority of the questions, Dom,
we're Dom related.
are really people want to. I know we're not doing a TT review, but people really want to hear about your 2 weeks. Like, I think it's fair to say your best outing at the TT. You have. What would you say that?
Yeah,
I know you're very modest and you don't like to talk about it, so like,
No, but
we're
like,
going to interview you.
No,
on this section.
honestly, not tonight. We're going to have to leave that as a cliffhanger. We can't, mate. We're doing 2.5 hours here. The chimps, and I'm not facing his wife.
We've
Let's
literally
leave it as a bit of clip.
we've-
Look at
we've
this. Look,
literally got-
don't you say it, son. Don't you dare.
We've got 5 or no,
Yeah, but we can
7
bring them up.
We've got 7 pages of Patreon
Which is
questions.
lovely. So thank you very
So,
much.
thank you to the patrons because
Yes.
we have actually addressed most of them,
Yeah.
but you guys are epic.
But so
Read some names out there, son. Read some names out.
Richard Harris, John James, Connor Henry, Terry Nichols, Chris Carlton, Sean Beasley, Photostrada Jason, Andy Ryder, Tim Gubbins twice, good stuff. Rob Marsden, Dave Rutherford, Mark Betts, Jess Mortimer. There was someone who was good on there. No, not on that one. CJ Pepe,
The second.
the second.
He is
Gary
actually-
Proctor, Three Cats Mummy, Andrew Starling, who did it twice again, Sticks, Dewey Williams, Dewi.
I was reading these
that
earlier
I
on.
hope you're
William
looking at all
Boyd,
these names because
Sean Whelan, Mick Strickland, Maggie Day. Sorry if I got people's names wrong, by the way. I'm really trying to get you all in because you're ace. Nick H, Samantha Ring, and if there's anyone I've missed, I do apologise.
to me to you is your man not
No,
on there. Oh,
there
that's
it
that.
is.
There you are. I knew you were going to
I
read
feel
the
let
names
down.
out. That's
to, be,
midnight.
to be fair, a lot of them, obviously, you're going to do the TT review, so I guess you'll cover your week in there. But you have had a fantastic week. Like,
The other thing is, guys, for the patrons, we did cheat this time. We'd read most of them beforehand, which we try not to.
Hold
Yeah.
on, you
We-
did.
I did. I knew we were going to cover most of it, so you haven't got the same shout-outs this week because we read through them beforehand, but there's some
Yeah.
mega questions in there.
but it does inform what we chat about, so it's
does.
it's
Good.
nice. It's
yeah,
nice,
so thanks for guiding us.
Yeah, thanks for all the positive comments for Dom. Like we've had everyone's had some positive feedback and stuff for our season.
Which
so
is
that's
impressive because there's not much positive to say about me.
Well, not
So
you.
thank you, guys.
You're just a bit shit. That's why. But yeah, no, it's been really nice. So Dom will cover his 2 weeks in the TT review.
Mate.
We've got to mention what happened at Alton Park.
Yeah.
What do you even say?
Yeah.
What do you even say? It's
So yeah, the on the Sunday, the Super Sport race, there was an incident on the first lap, just out of the first corner. Just one of those multi-bike collisions, really, where one rider goes down, and there's a gaggle of riders, and people are trying to slow down, obviously, and miss what's going on, and inevitably, but unfortunately, riders got collected, and yeah, we lost 2 riders, and obviously there was also Tom Tunstall, who's had some pretty serious injuries from it, but thankfully still with us.
Making a recovery. Yeah.
And obviously, while we're sitting here today, it was actually Owen Jenner's funeral today. You know, well,
Yeah.
obviously,
So we lost
send
Shane
off.
Richardson and Owen Jenner, and yeah, it's just a huge loss to the paddock. It's we all know what the paddock's like. It's an incredible place to be. It's full of fantastic people, and it's so sombering when these things happen. And there is nothing you can say because there just isn't. You know, obviously, our thoughts and stuff go out to the family and friends of both those guys, and we know it's possible. But we never expect it because short circuit racing, it's really rare, thankfully.
Yeah.
So
And obviously, what I must say, what the BSB do is when these incidents happen, they handle it as best they can, and I don't think they can do any more. It doesn't change the situation, but Donington, it just shows what them lads meant to the sport.
Yeah,
that send off that they had was massive.
I think that the whole way it was handled as well was just like you couldn't really do anything better, really. I think the way the meeting was abandoned and stuff, and the way everyone was communicated to, everybody knew it was serious, but there was medics on the scene within seconds. There was response. Like
we could not have better medical teams.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Than we have at BSB. Like, for those that you don't understand or don't know, not don't understand, because you don't need to understand. But from the outside, you're looking in, you might not realise we have such incredible medical team at BSB and such great facilities. Facilities on site. They can pretty much do most things there and then, and if not, there is a helicopter. And like I said, if mentioned about it, they have to have it on call ready, so you're pretty much guaranteed to be out there within minutes if you need to be, if there's something you can't do. So we could not get looked after better than what we do.
And all joking aside, it's like, that's why, price tickets go up. All this insurance costs more money, medical staff costs more money, and that's why when we watch racing in any format, that's where the money goes into the right areas. It does go into the right areas.
Just BSB to use in general is that a step above anything, really. I think it is. It is. It really is. And obviously incredibly sad, and just like it was that's nothing you can say, really. It was horrendous, really. It was
100%.
It was.
Well, honestly, lads, I feel like I'd like to finish it there. Obviously this episode goes to their families, and obviously thanks to catch up with you guys. It's been great to see us, and obviously, next episode we'll be, talking about the roads and other palavers and everything like that. But needless to say, great night, and goes out to them boys. Thank you very much. See you in a bit.